Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. Today, guys, I'm absolutely buzzing. I've got one of my old best mates in the whole universe on the bus with me. I was just saying to this guest beforehand, I'm a little nervous of this one because everybody else that I've had on I love to bits, but they're people that I didn't have much background knowledge, I just knew about their passions. Now this guest, I know pretty much everything about in every way, and we've had a bit of a history together, and I'm really excited just to hear what the hell you've been up to. So welcome aboard. Are you ready for this, Jagger? Let's go. Ollie Cowlishaw. Yeah. By the way, we've got Jagger in the background now.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
He knows a lot about Ollie as well, and we're just excited because we've missed you, man. But what's it been? 2 years?
What, since I was back here?
With us, with your boys.
With ya boys.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, I left to go to Lisbon in March 2020, the week of COVID,
Man.
the week of all the lockdowns. I felt like I was getting airlifted out of here, but then I landed smack bang in Lisbon, and it was just as shitty over there as well. So
Was
hang
it
on a minute.
shitty?
Yeah, I arrive and then I show up. It's dead bizarre. I come out the plane. First person I speak to in Portugal is some security guard that's like, "How much money do you make?" I was like, "What?" Turns out they don't make much money over there. So he was like, "Oh, where are you from? UK." So I had a weird conversation as soon as I got off the plane. But then I was driving through the city, going to my accommodation, and there's nobody in the street. We were in the main, the Avenida da Liberdade. It's like the main fucking street, down smack bang in the centre. There's nobody around. This was only like 7 o'clock in the evening.
It's quite literally just you.
Yeah, and I thought, hang on a minute. I was asking my Uber, I was like, "Is this normal?" He's like,
Are we right?
"No, COVID. I'm like, "Okay, well, obviously."
I mean,
It's mad.
I think that's where we're going to start with this podcast, Ollie. I want to really go into the depths of what happened to you and where you went from Lisbon onwards, and then I think we'll find our way back to the Ripley boys we know.
Okay, fair enough. What do you want to know? Like, what the fuck happened? How I got over there?
Yeah, what was the moment you found out? And please do the Ollie way of telling stories where you drag it out into a beautiful way. Don't just glance over bits. Tell me every moment in the month-by-month scenario. But I want to know how you first got a call to ask you to go over to Lisbon, how that come about, and then what the first part of it was and sort of what it's evolved to.
Okay, sweet. Well, before I got the sort of invitation to go to Lisbon, I was living on my own in Derby, and I was trying to build this online health coaching business, but it was going terribly. I was just posting on Facebook all the time, and it wasn't working. I couldn't get any clients and stuff, and I was just spending most of my time just in my apartment on my own, on my laptop, interacting with Facebook literally like all day.
Hey, Facebook.
Hey Facebook, how you doing? It was completely fucking with mental health. So I was just like, hang on, this ain't going well. This ain't. So I thought, all right, let's build a website. So download the software, yada yada yada, and I start talking to their support staff, and I think, hang on a minute, are you guys looking for a job? And they said no. Like, okay, sweet. Well, that's another branch chopped off. Fair enough. Okay, trying to just get myself out of this fucking apartment and go somewhere, But then their CEO. He just sent me this really random email, and he acknowledged how random it was in the email. It's like, this is not this is not something that anyone will ever get in their inbox, mostly in their life. This is very strange. And he goes, so basically, I'm putting together a team. I'm putting together a team of people to come to Lisbon with me to work on this new project. And this dude is like this dude's a millionaire basically. He's like a really successful guy. He runs about 3 or 4 successful companies. And it's like, I'm putting together this basically a crack team of people to come to Lisbon to work on this new project where what we're going to do, we're going to run a little experiment where we're going to see how productive humans can be when they live together. They work together on like a new project. They meditate together, they exercise together, they cook, eat together, that kind of thing. And we're going to see how that goes. So I thought, all right, that sounds cool as fuck. That sounds like exactly what I was looking for.
Can I intersect to that? Can you break down, because you do this beautifully, actually what was going on in your mental cogs there? Because, yeah, fuck it, let's go. Brilliant. But was there any nerves or any apprehension towards it as well? Were you thinking, hang on, that sounds too good to be true?
Mate, you know what's stupid? I often get this sense that shit just falls into my lap, and then I just sort of take it, because there wasn't really much in the way of the cogs turning. One thing I did notice is I got this email through because he sent it to his whole email list of like 11,000 people or whatever the fuck. And I thought, all right, usually what I would do is I'd see an opportunity like this and I'd go, okay, well, not really much point me applying for it because this is just an email that goes to everyone else. Some other people, some other mysterious, interesting, very competent, capable people will get it, but I can't get it ever. But I thought I was going through a bit of a period where I thought, you know what, like a Jim Carrey yes man kind of vibe at the time in my life. So I thought, fuck it, let's just apply for it. And then lo and behold, like 2 weeks later, it was like, hey, Oliver, this is actually a handwritten personal email. Hey, Oliver, I really liked your application. I'm just like, fuck off. Really? What? Really? What?
Did you think someone was taking a piss a little bit?
Well, I thought, I was so close to just clicking delete on the email and just say like, nah. Like I thought it was some spam email.
Yeah.
But it turns out it wasn't.
Definitely wasn't.
And it was like, yeah, mate. Well, we had a couple of calls with him. There was like a bunch of different stages, and eventually it was like, yeah, come to Lisbon.
Had you done a little bit of background conversations with people, and then looking at your page and the YouTube channel that you created? Had he seen, no, this guy's legit, I definitely want to work alongside him?
Yeah, he checked out my channel.
Really? Because it's really good. Just tell everyone where they can go for that channel, because it's awesome.
Oh man, it's good, but it's changed direction so many times
Has it?
over the years. I've started doing this channel.
I've been watching it recently, man. I love it.
I love the direction it's in now. Like I feel like I've actually found something that lines up more deeply with who I really am and what I'm trying to do. As
an observer, it's definitely turned into the authentic man I know. You seem very you on there. I think both of us can go for that, where we put out stuff and we can look back at it and go, oh, Mikey. Or,
mate, honestly. It's probably a creator's curse, isn't it? You just keep creating and then you look back like a year or two ago.
And you have to go through it.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to tell myself is if I don't look at old videos and cringe a bit, it's a sign I've not really made much progress. If I look at a video from 3 years ago and I'm like, brilliant,
mate, that's a great attitude.
Exactly, this person's better than I am. It's like, come on, it's like I've not made any progress. So yeah, you can just go. It's my name. It may change, but it's my name, Oliver Cowlishaw. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes or something somewhere. So if you type that in on YouTube, you find a couple of videos of me fighting someone apparently, but you'll also find some videos of me talking about dating.
I've found the fighting ones again. I've been there, mate. I love them.
Yeah, mate, honestly.
Well, because we're going to go there as well, mate. Honestly, I know enough about you to be able to take this in all directions.
Yeah. All right, bring it on. Any direction, man. Fuck it, let's go.
The Lisbon, you've had this email. It decided and found out it is true. You've had conversations.
Yeah, it's legit. I have some Zoom calls with the guy.
Wow.
And it went really, really well. So I thought, cool, let's see how that goes. And one of my friends around that time, I told her about it, and she was like, you're going to get it, don't you? And I was like, I don't know, but there's a part of me that's like, maybe I think so, and I don't know where that confidence came from, because it certainly weren't a feature of my personality before that. Is this confidence that I know what I'm doing? So, but then I did get it.
Wow.
So
what's the timeline here then? When are you actually flying out?
It from the first email when I received it was like day one, and then about 60 days later, about a couple of months I'm flying out.
60 days.
So it wasn't long. It wasn't long.
What are you doing in that stopgap then?
Dicking about, basically. Just dicking about, mate, really. Yeah, I mean, I was still sort of doing some personal training work and stuff like that, just to sort of keep afloat.
Tide you over.
Yeah. But then I just thought, fuck it, I just couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. I've always had this sort of this desire to adventure, to just fuck off and just go to different countries and meet different people and have bizarre adventures and stuff.
Wow.
And
we all feel that way.
Yeah, and I was trapped in this apartment in Derby, and I was just sort of like, this ain't what I want, mate. What am I doing here? just sat here on Facebook all day. It's the fucking opposite of what I want.
In this apartment?
Yeah, man.
Literally, that was just you with your cameras building up a bit of a profile.
Yeah, because I thought to myself, I wanted to do this. I thought to myself, let's try living alone for a bit as an adventure. But that kind of wore off really quickly. I thought, okay, this is just a means to live. It's hardly an adventure.
Well, that is the great thing about you, though, because you're willing and attempt to try everything. So
for my sins.
Yeah, and the process of elimination, you've also realised who you are by what you don't want as much as what you do want. And that seems something of you, because I've always really enjoyed from seeing you just tenaciously jump into all avenues and all pools and just try it out. And then you've come back and sort of said, Nah, not that one.
Yeah, mate, honestly.
If you've inspired me in many ways, which you have, and you've definitely left a big imprint to me and how I live my life, that's one of the biggest. That was one where I went, dude, you fucking smashed that. Try it out, mix with this group. Not quite my people, but I like elements, and you just keep taking stuff away. I think that's awesome.
It's the Bruce Lee philosophy, mate.
What's that then?
It's the idea is that you just like Bruce Lee was the pioneer of mixed martial arts, really, as far as I can tell. And I was watching Bruce Lee movies since I was maybe like 5.
You were
I was trying to practice fucking kicking and shit. Well, not very good, obviously. 5 years old, but like, yeah, Bruce Lee was like my first philosopher I was following, and the idea is that he would try a bunch of different martial arts and integrate what he found useful for himself and discard, like sometimes ruthlessly, what he didn't find useful. And ever since I heard him on an interview when I was younger say that, I was kind of just like, well, you can apply that.
Yeah.
You know, you can apply that to so many different avenues in life. Try it. Try traveling. Try being a digital nomad for a bit. Try living alone. Try this. Try that. Try hanging out with these kind of people. Then try hanging out with that kind of people. And just take what's useful for you and discard what isn't.
I suppose this fairly interlinks that, but one of the other massive things I still recycle to people that you told me, you create your reality. And that was a huge moment. That's one that I've really, when I've got into lulls and lows, I've completely remembered that moment we had in the pub together where you're like, Mikey, you create the reality though. I went, oh shit, I'm the reason it's all gone to shit right now. Or I'm the reason that it's all going well. Either way of the card, I'm the decipher. And that was a big one for me. Did you hear that on Bruce Lee, or who gave you that one?
Oh, fuck knows, mate. I probably, realistically, I probably came across that one on some random inspirational Instagram post or something.
But some stick, don't they? That stuck for a reason.
Yeah. It's probably. I mean, nowadays it'd be some inspirational quote from some chick in yoga pants doing squats, wouldn't it?
Now
you
we're
create your
talking.
own reality. It's like, yeah, that's the reason you're posting your ass on fucking social media, is it? To inspire
Isn't it
people.
funny how sort of much depth and gravitas that carries?
Yeah, if you
then
sit
we
in it.
commercialise them. But yeah, if you sit and think about it and take it into life, there's so much power within it. But again, we do sort of commercialise everything and put it on top of something and try and sell people a package with it. But truthfully, the reason a lot of stereotypes exist is for a reason. It works, but you need to actually live it out rather than just dish it out and say it.
Exactly, man. Otherwise, if you don't live it and if you don't try to embody it, it just becomes a platitude. You just end up reading it on Instagram as you're scrolling. It's, oh, interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, and then you go to the pub and tell it, but you're not living it. And I've definitely been that for a long time until I just took a moment out and said, well, come on, you've got to change something at some point. And actually, the stuff you're saying, if lived, it may actually enhance your life massively. So, they were two big ones for me. Watching you act it out and having you come and say, yeah, you create your reality. I've definitely tried to take them principles away. So I thank you for that, my brother.
My pleasure, mate. My
100%.
pleasure. I think I've kind of come, on that one, I've kind of, that's one that I keep grappling with. Is like, you create your reality, you know. It's like, you create your reality. Yes, are you the center of the universe? No, but you are it's like, the way I see it now is like, you do massage your reality. You know, like your perceptions, the way you believe, what you think and stuff. It warps and shapes reality. But at the same time, I maintain this sort of healthy sense of there's something. We're part of something much greater than you. That's beyond your comprehension.
Yes.
And like. And basically that idea for me helps keep my ego in check. Is that I'm not the be all and end all, the fucking center of the universe and stuff. Like,
and also, you do create.
I did believe at one point.
You do create the reality, but things happen in your life that you have no control over. And you can't control that, but I suppose you control your approach towards that.
Exactly, man. Yeah, and after knocking about with these like spiritual ideological circles, like hardcore hippies that really believe that you create your own reality to a degree.
Yeah, I get you.
I realized that I realized early on after knocking about with those kind of people that, like, not to put them all in one category, but like that sort of crowd.
You created a stereotype that does exist.
Yeah, is that there's some people in that crowd who they're devoid of empathy completely. Like, for instance, if you just get struck by, I don't know, like a cancer diagnosis or something like that, it's like, there are people that really follow that track so strongly that they're like, oh, well, it's part of your, there must have been some things that you were doing or some things you were thinking or believing into existence that brought the cancer. I was like, you really believe that, motherfucker? Like, you really believe that?
Mate.
Are you insane? Like, how much do you have to leave out
Did
to
you
actually
meet
believe something
people
like
that?
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what gets me? And I sort of feel this. People judge you on how dogs treat you. And I get that to a degree. But me and Chrissy went to a place in Bristol, a real hippie, sort of artsy place, avant-garde. And the dog, I went to pick the bone up and it bit the shit out of me. It attacked me. And then the woman runs up and she's like, that's your fault, that. And not just for, the bone thing I get, but she's like, the energy you put out and all this about my energy. I was going, I'm a nice guy. Your dog bit me. And she was having a go at me and said, it must be all this underlying subconscious energy that you're pumping out into the dogs understand. And I was going, no, your dog just bit me, mate.
sometimes it really is like that, like, because if you made that argument, what you could do is get the most traumatized dog possible, lead it round. When it starts biting everyone, it's like, all your energies are the problem. This dog's fine. And it's like, hang on, no, because that's an idea there, isn't it? It's like the dog is traumatized, so it's perceiving reality a certain way, so it's perceiving threats everywhere. So it's like, no, it's not just the energy over there, it's the chemistry between the energy over there and the dog's or the person's perception, and they meet in the middle and create a result.
And I suppose what we're dotting about here is like laws of attraction and so on. Do you have a philosophy in that, or do you have a belief pattern around that? Because I suppose it got really trendy when The Secret came out and everyone was going, oh, this new thing. And apparently I watched a documentary recently. That was a guy who owned a pyramid scheme, and he took people out into Nevada desert and made them do sweat camps, and they all ended up dying.
I think I heard of that.
It's crazy. It was an amazing documentary, but then again, everything's got nuance, hasn't it? Because there's some beautiful core principles around The Secret or around the laws of attraction, and when they've done it into the quantum world and they've gone deep into it, there's a lot of truths there. But I suppose when it's rehashed into our lifestyles and into first world industry and so on, it gets diluted very quickly.
Yeah.
But do you believe? Are you a
believer?
What are your concepts or thoughts on the laws of attraction then?
Okay, cool. So it's kind of strange, man, because no matter whatever I encounter in my travels and in my whatever, like, I always seem to think that there is this strange middle way that seems to be more true than any opposite.
Polar side.
Like, for example, like, you have the hardcore pragmatists that will be like, the law of attraction is total bullshit. It's all about action, nothing else. It's like, okay. And you get the hardcore law of attraction people that will just put a fucking vision board of a Ferrari on the wall and just sit there jerking off. Like, eventually a Ferrari will pull up outside my house and I can just get in it. And it's like, dude, you're fucking procrastinating. And you know it. But then I'm also not with the hardcore action people who are just like, your beliefs and your intentions and stuff. It's all bullshit, fucking bullshit, woo-woo stuff. Just pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and shit. I'm like, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
Right? So, like, it's like, for example, if you're going in the wrong direction, like, progress and action is the last thing you need, right? So if you get someone, for example, who...
That's a good saying.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It is, I love that.
Yeah, it's not a bad one. So, like, you get some people that they'll take radical action, but they've got fundamental issues with how they perceive reality. Like, for example, if you have someone who believes in some really harmful conspiracy theory, right? Yeah. But then they take shitloads of action.
Yeah.
It's like, you're actually, because you've not examined your own beliefs and the way you perceive reality, your action is producing a net negative, right? So I think when it comes to law of attraction stuff, it's somewhere in the middle. Like, what the work I do with clients, it's kind of a combination of things. Like, I work as a dating coach now for guys who are like, they struggle with their like social anxiety, they struggle with shyness, and they struggle with conversation and stuff like that with women. And it's like, okay, we could go the full law of attraction route and just sit in a room and just be like, okay, I'm an attractive man, I'm a confident man, blah, 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 blah. But, like, reality hasn't showed you any evidence that that's true yet, right? So a part of your subconscious will always be like, bullshit, because you can't fool yourself for long enough, right? Eventually there's a part of you that's always going to say, like, if you just sit there and go, I am money is flowing to me, and you check your bank account and it's like got £5 in it. Yeah. Reality is saying, you're bullshit. and your subconscious is always going to be in conflict with it, right? So like, the truth is somewhere in between. But at the same time, with my clients, we examine like the beliefs that are giving rise to their results. But I also challenge them to take action.
Yeah.
In such as like, look, you see a cute girl in a coffee shop, go and fucking talk to her. Don't just law of attraction and oh no, no problem. I can just go no. You're going to use this law of attraction stuff and the meditation and all the rest of it as a cop out.
Yeah.
At some point, no matter what you want to do, if you want to shape your life in a certain way, at some point you will come up against some very real, uncomfortable resistance. And I actually think that the law of attraction, the reason why the idea was so palatable when The Secret came out, is because humans will find basically any reason to avoid the path of resistance.
Yep.
So if you get a big ideology like The Secret or whatever, or the law of attraction, that will come out and say, listen, you don't actually have to do all the hard work. You can just like think it, believe it, manifest it into existence, and it comes easier. Now, I'm not saying success always has to be grindy hard work, but there always will be some form of resistance because we don't like changing as human beings, do we? So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at on it.
I think that's a stunningly good attitude,
like,
mate.
Action. You need fucking action.
Yeah.
It's like if someone came to me wanting to change, I want to change something in my life. I actually think if I gave them, like one of the things I like to do with my clients to overcome social anxiety is a 30-day social challenge experiment. Where like every day they'll do something like an actual social challenge in the world.
Okay.
Such as approach a stranger and approach them and say, I'll challenge you to a game of what is it? Rock, paper, scissors. Yeah. It's like, do that. Then the following day, you approach a stranger and ask them how the day is going and strike up a conversation and stay in the conversation for about 30 seconds longer than you think you should.
Yes.
And just like continuously put yourself out there and get out of your comfort zone. That produces more palatable results in the world than saying, you know what, let's figure out some affirmations and then just sit there and do these affirmations for a while. And I'm not saying those things aren't useful, but if I was a betting man, and I'm not, then I'd put all my money on the guy that's taking radical action without thinking about it, as a way of changing his life. So I guess I am put sort of 60% towards the action and 40% towards the law of attraction side of things.
Hey, that rhymes.
Did it?
Action, law of attraction.
Action, law of attraction. You are a fucking poet, aren't you?
I will take it.
You can't help yourself, can you?
My friend always said to me recently as well that. Also, you've got to be careful because the more you want something and put it out there, it can also repel it. It leaves that was a thoughtful idea. But again, how you've ended up in Lisbon, yes, may have been this idea of, I really want this. I really want to get out there. This feels like there's something out there for me. That's a beautiful energy that you're putting across. But also, you'd sent emails. You thought about what is your approach. And you've embodied that. You've shown that it does take a little bit of belief and putting the right energies out, but also, more so, it's got to be the action done.
Yeah. I often think now, what matters at least equally, maybe more so than an action, is the intention behind it.
Yes, that's good.
Like if you are engaging in law of attraction kinds of thinking, and deep down the intention is that you actually want to avoid the hard work that you actually know that you need to do that would actually produce scary success in your life. If that's the intention, then if the intention is to avoid and procrastinate, you will find any tool. Like no tool will work to get you success because the intention is off, right? So I'm often more interested in what's my intention. What's my client's intention? What's he trying to do? If he comes to me saying, "Hey, I want a girlfriend," it's like, what's his real intention here?
Mate, so you've said that, it's sort of triggered an idea. But what was your first intention of going to Lisbon? What was that intention? Then we'll talk about the sort of now intention.
Oh man, I think my intention when I wanted to go to Lisbon initially was to escape. Really, it was to escape complicated like family dynamics. It was I also wanted to desperately just be special and just be in a sense better than what I perceived to be everyone else. And I thought, you know what, if I go to Lisbon, a very trendy city, cool, I could tell everyone I've gone to Lisbon and they'll think I'm awesome and shit like that. That was a real palatable part of it.
Do you think, and I want to keep going down the path we were going, but do you think there's some nice nuance in that too, though? Because it sent you there.
Yeah.
And the ego I mean, both of us, we've tried to destroy our egos in the past and just be like, we don't want any ego anymore.
I don't.
A full sense of loss of it.
Yeah.
But also, you know, I would never have got on a stage if I didn't have ego. I would have never put a video out there. And you probably wouldn't have done many of things that your ego was telling you to do. So have you grown friends with it? And do you think it's actually a decent part of you?
Dude, I'm really glad you pointed that out, because it's true. Because you can fall into that trap of just being like, I went out there for these reasons and that was wrong, but now I've seen the light. Now I'm fine. It's like no. Like I often think with any action or any change you want to make, I try to think about it now for myself as what are the more chimp-like motivations, and what are the more fucking blissful Jesus-like like intention behind it. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, there's a chimp part of me that wants to fight and fuck everything.
Yeah.
And there is a Jesus part that wants love and altruism and peace for everybody.
Yeah.
They're both there all the time.
Yeah.
But if I just ignore the chimp and try and fool myself into thinking I'm nothing but Jesus,
This is beautiful.
then I'm like, I'm fooling myself and I'm pushing my own shadow away.
Yes.
Right? And it's always going to chase me no matter what, because we always cast a shadow, right? But if I then identify completely with chimp, which a lot of people do, they fall into the trap of thinking I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you're not. You're not a piece of shit. Yes, you want to fuck everything, you want to fight everything. Yes, you get angry. Yes, you get whatever. Yes, you procrastinate.
And that's been perpetuated through your journey and the story that you've told yourself and been on. Like, it could have been passed down through ancestries and people have told them this is the way.
Exactly, yeah.
But you are more than that.
For sure. It's just, I love, because the idea is like, I try to take every part of me and bring it along for the ride.
Yeah, that's,
you know?
that's
and,
lovely,
and my whole journey through life, like you come in, it's like a fucking movie that you don't know the answer, you don't know what the plot is. You come into life, you're like, what's the plot of this shit? It's like, no one really knows. It's like, oh, maybe it's this thing, maybe it's that. Well, fuck that. And then you go through and then you die. So it's like along the way, I keep trying to, like, one of the most enriching things, the most exciting things for me is continually learning more about myself. It's like every now and then I learn something that scares me sometimes, and I'm just like, ooh, okay, that's part of me. But then sometimes I'm like, oh wow, that's part of me too. And like, what I try to live in such a way that they're all on the bus.
He did it. And then, I need a trigger when somebody says anything like that on, and just balloons come down.
Fanfare. Comes to try playing trumpets and shit like a marching band. But it's true. I try to live in such a way where everything's along for the ride. So one thing I've been working, and I'll kind of nutshell this because this might lead to another tangent, but I've been working with a coach for a while now, coach/mentor/therapist, to be honest, about getting in contact with this part of me that's an inner child. A child that's scared, a child that doesn't trust himself, a child that's just is driving the bus, he makes loud noises, he throws tantrums and shit like that. And just been trying to like contact that part of me and bring it into the fold, you know, rather than push it away and shove it away and saying, oh, I'm such a fucking child, you're a piece of shit there, I should grow up, I should fucking, yeah. Instead of being aggressive about it, just be kinder to
Understanding.
that. Yeah, understanding, compassion, be kind to him and invite him onto the bus rather than trying to kick him off the bus every 2 seconds, you know? So
because he feels a part of it, then you can have genuine conversations with him.
Yeah, and you can use that potential, because I don't want to be a man who has lost all the capacity for play and for fun and for wonder and to ask interesting questions like we know kids do. In fact, like, we've met enough adults that have somewhat successfully extinguished their inner child, and now they're just this soulless, like, meh, I need more money, meh, that's my thing, meh. You know what I mean? And it's like, I wouldn't want to be that guy. So back to the sort of the Jesus and the chimp within us. I tried to be the Messiah for a while. All it took was me listening to Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, and then for a year I tried to create this like
Tell
hippie.
Everybody.
I was like dressed in hippie clothes, and I was like, yes, everybody. And I even did these like meditation little events in this abandoned factory.
I went to one.
Yeah, and I was just like, I was reading from like these Zen Buddhism books. I didn't fucking understand what they meant, but I was just like, yes, oh, this is an interesting riddle. I understand, but it's fine if you don't understand. It's like, I tried to be the Messiah for a while because I was shoving away the chimp.
Oh,
but now I'm like, okay, if I want to go in that way, like if I want to make lots of money, yeah, there's the chimp. There's like one sort of bitches and all the fucking, you know, the parties and shit. And there's also that part of me that's like, look, if I have loads of money, then maybe I could have a family.
Yeah.
And maybe I could support my family. Maybe I could, you know, I could maybe donate to charities that I believe in, or maybe could have found my own charity with the money I have and shit like that. Like, so there's both motivations, but it's like, just bring both of them along for the ride because they're there anyway.
It's basically self-awareness, isn't it? Because everyone says, oh, money's the problem, money's the root of evil. Money's not been around for that long. There was something that was a root of evil way before money. The devil would be like, you bastards, what about me? But
Yeah.
genuinely, it's now to that level where you've understood yourself. You've been through such a journey, such a ride, and you understand where you're at now, and you've got that self-awareness to go, it's what I do with the money, and it's where I place all my intentions. And it seems like you've genuinely got a greater understanding of how to lay out intentions that are tangible and that make sense to you for that. And it's always to change, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I do believe, like you say, there's a beautiful duality where, you know, as soon as you start going really, really materialistic and down that path, it doesn't feed your soul anymore. But you can still take, if you know something's going to feed you and you know something's going to give you a brilliant feeling for a while, you can go with it now. And you're not on either side of the fence anymore. And it feels, it's a nice moment when you get to that, isn't it? And I'll just reach on what you said before about that character. I had a guy on Paul Cope and was speaking in the kitchen about him.
Yeah.
He said a similar thing. There was a character in his life he hated for a long time, which was Bane. And it was this angry, as you imagine Bane to be, horrible,
very compassionate fellow.
Yeah, he had a really horrible, angry side to his nature, and it had always come out because he couldn't consciously control Bane or talk with Bane. So Bane was just there, and he'd probably be off the bus. But when he saw too much going on, he'd go on and scream at everyone. So he didn't make friends with Bane, but when he built up this idea of, you know what, I'm going to talk to Bane, I'm going to allow him onto the bus and make friends with him, he was really negative to Bane at the time. He was saying, I wish you were never around, I wish you weren't here. He says, yeah, Paul, but I've replaced a character that's not here at the minute. And he said, well, who was that? Paul did to Bane. He goes, the one that wanted to kill you. So because he was angry at the world, and because he had that anger inside him, Bane was still there to say, no, we need to keep going, we need to keep going. He said, I just replaced the one that wanted to kill you.
Shit, so it was like a protection.
Yes.
Like, so Bane was like serving a protector role.
A whole, complete. And on it, when he said that, I was going, oh, wow. So you're saying those negative traits and characters outside the bus aren't all bad. They're actually people that we can take elements of them and start to make our lives better by introducing them. And
that's
what
a fucking mind blower, isn't it?
It's good, isn't
like,
it?
because if you feel like, Bane's a part of you and you're shaming Bane.
Yeah.
Bane's like, because he's Bane, he's like, fuck you, I'm trying to protect you. And you're like, yeah, fuck you, I don't like you. I don't fucking like you either. You know what I mean? It's like, but actually, the role of him was always to be like, look, if it weren't me, it'd be this fucking dude in the back that will kill you.
Yeah.
So you stuck with me.
So honestly, man, I love that, we've not seen you for years, and I'm enjoying today. I hope we see each other more often, all of us, because I love you.
£9 to get back to fucking UK
honestly,
from Lisbon.
You are
I can't pay that, mate.
You are a top-notch
I'm
lad.
out of cheddar.
And I do also, I love the fact that we've been on such random, vehement journeys, the three of us still, me, you and Jagger I'm equating to, but we've come back.
There's no camera on Jagger.
Yeah, we need to get a Jagger cam.
We need a Jag cam. That's what we need.
We
We need maybe a camera right here that just pointing to Jagger. Just like, yes, my boy.
It's not changed that much, but still, we have we've grown similar paths still out of it. We've lived you've been to Lisbon, I've been here, but the truth that we're coming back to tell are very similar, and I think that's really poetic. I think it feels really beautiful that you've gone and done your thing, but you're coming back around. I'm like, I heard that too. That got me.
Yeah.
And it does show that we're so similar in who we are, and I suppose we can, after we've been through the whole Lisbon story, talk about our past selves and who we were. But you're somebody that's always going to come back around and go, dude, I'm so happy you're of existence. I'm so happy you're in the world, because we are so similar. And I suppose we do latch on to them. That's a profound thing, or that sounds right.
Yeah.
So let's jump in to a bit more then of when you're at Lisbon, because I love that we go off on a path and we end up down here.
We went well over there, didn't we?
But you're in Lisbon, and you've gone with a bit of an egocentric side of your nature, but at least it's took you there and it's got you here. What are you doing? And Who are you with? What's happening at this time?
Yeah, so I'm living with a few of my business partners, and we're all working on this business together. We started a personal development brand called Icario,
Mint.
and that's still running now. Even though I've left a couple of months ago, but it's still running, and I still keep in contact with the guys and stuff. But it was a personal development brand centered around helping. Initially, we started helping entrepreneurs be more productive, because we realised that most people know what to do. Most people know what to do. Like if you ask someone, if someone was giving advice to a good friend, they'd have a good few points that would produce results. But then when it's applied to ourselves, we just don't do it. So, whatever, because it's like difficult. So we centered the business around that for a while. And I was living in Lisbon. We were building this business, and I was living with all the guys. And yeah, I mean, obviously COVID was happening. So we weren't really doing much other than working. We became full-blown workaholics.
How would you be working? What would your days look like?
We'd wake up, we'd meditate, we'd exercise, we'd cook, we'd actually have quite a lot of conversations too, just in the day. There was one time we fucked off to the Algarve, to have like a mini retreat. We went away for like 2 weeks in a villa. Just to run a bunch of personal development experiments. You can actually find them on YouTube.
Okay.
We tried little things like swapping coffee for green tea to see if that made any difference. We tried after 6 p.m. stopping using phones and blue light and just using candles and see if that affected our sleep. That was pretty cool.
How would you monitor that? Would it be sort of epidemiology style? You just relating and saying how you feel, or could you study this?
Basically that.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that, because we wanted to keep it somewhat down to earth as well, and just be okay. Well, did this make a difference? Yes. Did it? Yes or no kind of thing.
Be reflective.
Yeah, we wanted to be objective as well. So we did quite a bit of that, and but yeah, COVID was a thing. We all got COVID at one point.
Fucking hell.
That was ridiculous. That was because there's one of our team that was always getting ill, so we never really thought anything of it. But then one day he just walks into the living room and goes, "Guys, I can't taste anything." And then we were just like, lads, we've all got COVID. And there was one of our team that just turned up from South Africa that week, and he was like, maybe I don't have it, it's fine. And he was like, maybe I can quarantine. And I was like, mate, this apartment is very small. Okay, you've been living with us for a week. If one of us has got COVID, you've got it as well.
But we love an optimist.
Yeah, he tried locking himself in the room. We're like, how you doing, mate? And he was like, I'm fine, I don't feel any worse. It's like, eventually he got it.
Oh, mate.
So
As
we
you
all
started coughing on his door.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if we're having it, you're having it. Coughing through the keyhole. Fuck you, you're having it. But yeah, but it was a laugh, mate. It was really good.
So, did you really enjoy all these people you were living with from the off?
Yeah, but after a while, living with these guys, man, eventually it started to get on my tits, and it kind of showed me myself quite well.
Go on, dissect it.
So basically, I had to really dive into this idea of projection, which is projecting the things you don't like about yourself onto other people and thinking that it's in them, and they're like, oh, it's so selfish, it's so this and that. So, and then recognizing that that's actually a part of you don't like about yourself. And when I realized that, it was like, fucking hell. Because initially, there was just some things that started to really get on my tits about some of the people that I live with. Just like, yeah.
Go on, pick a few.
One dude in particular, he came across as just very selfish, narcissistic, very selfish, very ego-centered, very much about him, very rigid in his routine. And if you asked him a favour, work-related, it's like, well, this doesn't fit into my schedule, so no. And I was just like, fuck you know, selfish. Yeah, you know what I mean? But it was like, initially, the surface layer of that is, this guy's an asshole, this guy's this. But if you just go deeper with that, it's like, okay, well, other people don't think that about him, but you do. So that means that no matter what, there's something about you that's reacting to that.
Yeah.
And that specific trait and characteristic. So I went on a big old journey into integrating my own selfishness and the ways in which I can be a narcissistic asshole sometimes. That was fun. Yeah, a little something called shadow work, where you actually intentionally, like, oh, you don't like that about a person. Oh. Okay, well, find specific examples where you've been that.
Did you have to immerse yourself around them more, that person, to really understand the triggers so you could learn more about yourself?
Yeah, well, yeah, but there's also the thing about being honest. and like genuinely honest, unresentful, open communication where you own what's going on.
Yeah.
So like I had to say to him, listen, I was like, look, this when you say certain things, when you do certain things, this is how I feel, you know? And the story I'm telling myself is that you're selfish. And then you got to go, what's the goal here? I'm like, my goal is I want to live with you. I want us to be cool. Just something's being triggered in me that I'm going to work out. And then you might have to set some boundaries, you know? It's like, when you do this causes this reaction, yada, yada, yada. It's never clean. It's always like a messy conversation. But,
Really?
But it's better than no conversation at all, because then you just get resentment. You're just like, this guy's a prick.
Can I hear how it sort of did unfold then?
Yeah, it unfolded quite well, because this guy I'm talking about specifically, he's into self-development as well. And initially I was like, shit, if I bring this up to him, that certain behaviours really, really piss me off, then it's just gonna go tits up. There's gonna be tables flipped and fucking drinks thrown and shit.
Was he
like
a big lad?
They were about the same size,
Okay.
actually.
It would have been a good one then.
yeah. Well, the funniest thing is when I brought it up to him, he was like, yeah, you know, I was like, yeah, so listen, I've got to bring this up to you. Yeah, sometimes when you do this, it pisses me off. It makes me angry. And then the story I tell myself is that you're a selfish asshole and you don't care. And he was like, yeah, you know, I know I can be. I'm working on it. I'm trying not to be so fucking selfish. I know it about myself. Other people have told me. Oh. And I was just like, well, I feel a bit closer to this guy. That didn't go like I thought it would. And he was like, yeah, in future, just like, if something pisses you off, just tell me, because I'm trying to work on it and I appreciate you being honest. And I'm like, hang on, what's going on here? Because I always thought that this would always equal some shitty situation. But it taught me something about the value of honest conversation. And me and him are really, really good friends now.
Wow. And I suppose everyone else in that house dynamic would understand that we all do this. So there's a lot of trust involved in everybody, because they go, I'm getting a vibe here. I don't think he likes me. But actually, because you're in this household where you're all honest about one another, the no is, no, he would say it if he didn't. So you're all living on this quite pure feeling of, I'm not being a dick because he'd tell me if I'm being a dick. In that way,
yeah,
feeling?
Yeah, that's it. That's
like
true.
That.
Yeah, me too. Cause I want to have people around. This is about being intentional with who you spend your time with. Because a concept I came across, it's a book called Radical Honesty by a therapist called Brad Blanton, right? And he's a bit of an asshole, but he don't give a shit. And in the book, he
can be our mate.
He was like a therapist for like 40 years. And he was like, one of the things that I realised about my whole time working as a therapist is that we're all full of shit. We're all just talking bullshit upon bullshit to ourselves.
Is that his first page?
Yeah, it is. It's his introduction. It's like to ourselves and to each other. Constant bullshit about everything, and then we wonder why we're mentally unwell. It's like, well, maybe...
Is it 3 pages long as well?
Yeah. It's one PDF. It's like a one-sheet PDF.
Stop being a dick.
And it changed my life.
Yeah,
more than any therapy did.
I can imagine.
But then it kind of it's also a website, and you can also go on retreats where they practice radical honesty and they teach you how to do it. But it's something that I started implementing, and I realised pretty quickly that you can't implement it with everybody because not everyone values it. So when I recommended this to clients and stuff, it usually went a bit tits up.
Really?
Because when you start being radically honest with people and they're not ready for it, they're like, what the fuck? So that's another question, is like, who do you want to surround yourself with? And now I'm kind of thinking, I want to surround myself with people who they can celebrate victories with me. They can tell me when I'm fucking up. Like, they can be honest. They value honesty, basically. And they're also willing to own their shit. Like, they're willing to own their part in things. And I think we help each other grow that way.
Are you one of the youngest there?
No. So when I was part of the team, the youngest was, I think he was 20.
Okay.
And that was another person.
What a good environment for him.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I was there at 20.
Yeah, honestly, like, that man's got his shit together for 20. Jesus Christ. When I was 20, I was just getting pissed.
Oh, mate.
Constantly.
I know where we were.
Going to fucking raves, getting smashed every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Didn't know fucking my arsehole from my earhole. But this guy, like, he's got his stuff together big time. But, that was another triggering I had, is that he just would procrastinate and would just, like, be messy.
Yeah.
So there was the part of him that was this child, this teenager that just didn't want to grow up. I initially was reacting to it like, meh, you need to just grow up. Yeah. I was talking like my dad spoke to me when I was a teenager doing the same thing. So it's like my dad's voice coming through me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? You should just get your shit together. That's what you should do. But then I recognise that there's a part of me that also doesn't want to do shit, that wants to leave pots everywhere and just be a messy bastard.
Wish I could be like that.
Yeah,
to a
and
degree.
then I just had to integrate the part of me that was still just a rebellious little shit. As a teenager, I was like, I don't want to clean my shit up. Fuck you,
Mate.
I just sit and play video games all day.
So, how long are you living here with these guys?
Well, I was living, I think, for basically most of the time. To be honest, it was like a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah, and then at a certain point, out of the blue, and this is what I mean when I say things just fall into my lap sometimes. All of a sudden, I was getting this real emotional signpost to leave.
Okay.
It came really powerfully.
Was that a build-up?
Yeah, gradually.
It was a gradual.
Actually, in March of this year, I started having severe panic attacks. Like, it came out of the blue. It's dead strange. It all came because of some other stuff happening in my life, but generally speaking, it just, all of a sudden I started getting panic attacks. And then all of a sudden, reality just seemed terrifying. And then it was severe anxiety that came out of the blue.
Right.
And then I got therapy for that. But then one of the reasons we identified I had real bad anxiety was because it was work related. I was like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I in this business? What the fuck?
I'll intersect that because I think it's important for people to know, when we talk and you talk, people could listen and go, he knows a lot of shit. He really knows his shit. And they could place you up. I've done it to people where you place them in this box, don't you? I've done it to Russell Brand or people like that. But everybody needs people to look towards and mentors and guides. And you got a therapist. And I think that's beautiful because it's always taking you back a notch, isn't it? It's going, no, everyone needs help. We're all in it together. And there's going to be some things that they can take a 40,000-foot angle of and tell you what you might be missing.
Yeah.
And how did you find the right therapist? And how did they use sort of practical advice and stuff with you then?
So it was really useful. So I went on, because obviously COVID, I couldn't see anyone in person. So I went on BetterHelp, you know that website?
Yeah.
BetterHelp. I went on BetterHelp and it was really cool because the first therapist I was paired up with, turns out she was exactly what I needed.
Really?
Because at the time,
Straight away?
Yeah, because for some reason, right, when I got that real bad anxiety, it was the intense existential thinking that I'd had in the past, the spirituality-based stuff, actually came back to bite me in the ass because I didn't think that my anxiety could be caused by very real concrete problems in my life that I needed to sort out. I thought it was like, I was finally seeing through to the real nature of the universe and it's so scary and meaningless and all this shit. And then I paired up with a therapist that was like, Ollie, that's not your problem. That's not the problem you're facing. I'm like, yeah, but it is. But I see reality and I don't understand it. It's like, that's not your problem, right? This is not your issue that you're facing. So she ended up pulling it back every time I'd speak and I'd be in a panic state. She'd be pulling it back to very real concrete problems.
Wow.
Like, do you feel connected to the people around you? No, not really. Like, okay, well, you need to work on coming out your shell and showing people who you really are and feeling connected that way. Okay, cool. Fine. Okay, do you feel a sense of meaning and purpose in your work? No. Okay, that's a real big stressor on the body, actually. That's a real big stressor. Like, we have certain emotional needs, and if you don't have them met, then it will produce real strong emotional responses in the body, like anxiety. And then your rational mind, which is usually an ally when you're in a calm state, for the most part, becomes an enemy, and when it's triggered by your emotions, it starts seeing reality in fearful ways, and then you believe your own bullshit, and then it just becomes this cycle.
Perpetuates it.
So she helped me through just being direct, honest, no bullshit, calling me out when I'm just going existential for no apparent reason, right? And she kept pulling it back to these grounded, very real problems. And she was like, okay, yeah, well, reality might be this, but you actually, that's not anything you can change. So why don't you work on these things in the meantime while you're trying to work out the nature of the universe, which I don't recommend doing, by the way. But if you're going to do that, then at least work on going to the gym every now and then in the process. So then after a while, I eventually just, it caused me to then go, maybe I don't need to know the fundamental nature of absolutely everything. Maybe I should just have a nice breakfast and go to the gym before doing all that first.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's just so yeah. If I'd have paired up with because there's a type of therapy called existential therapy, where they meet a person where they're at, which in my view is fucking stupid, because if their nervous system's triggered, right, that's a real grounded problem. If you gave them breathing exercises and shit like that to fix that problem, then they could calm down, then they wouldn't be grappling with these intense maybe they still will, but like not with this panic state.
They could do it at a better foundation.
Exactly. So if I'd have gone to an existential therapist, and they were like,
taking you to the moon and back.
and I was already fucking palm sweating, heart racing, freaking out, and they were like, okay, so life is meaningless, so how are we going to do what do you mean life's meaningless? I've got a therapist telling me that's true now. Oh god.
Oh wow.
And then the therapist is like, yes, okay, so you're going to die alone. Oh my god. Don't tell me that, I'm freaking out. You know what I mean? But luckily, this therapist was like, no, your problem is that you're experiencing anxiety, which is your central nervous system firing on all cylinders because you've perceived a threat. You know? And it's perceiving an imaginary threat, but we're going to work with that.
But it's literally what you spoke about at the start of the podcast with monkey mind and this existential mind.
Yeah.
But then you've just losing yourself from this, and she's trying to bring you back to, no, your evolutionary state and how we need to operate and work with, and then you can think about this, but we have to build up monkey mind. So you are going back to that duality, I suppose.
Yeah.
And what you need to work on, and principles.
For sure. There was also something I uncovered, because I was wondering why the fuck why was I in such a crazy state of panic? So one symptom of really intense anxiety that's prolonged is something called derealisation, where things
That,
just
like disassociation.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Where reality seems a bit spacey, like you're not kind of you're about 2 inches away from reality. You're like, oh, now
I think I get you.
yeah. Whereas that's just a normal symptom of anxiety, unsettling, but it's just a symptom of anxiety, right? But because I'd had some pretty shady experiences with psychedelics in my life that were very terrifying, there was like a trauma connection. So when I had got some serious anxiety, I then saw that things were a bit warpy. My subconscious associated it with terrifying psychedelic experiences and then reacted as if that was happening again. And I was like, you know what I mean?
Like
freaking out.
A flashback.
Yeah, I was getting flashbacks like that. So I had to work with a trauma specialist on sort of rewiring
Oh, brother. Do
the
you know after
associations.
this, please link me up, because I'm still fighting that demon, definitely.
Yeah, well, it's a therapist called Martin Dunley.
Okay.
I had him on my own podcast.
Really?
And he duns A in English right there in school. He duns a podcast.
Tell people where they can listen to your podcast as well, because after hearing this, and if they're this far in, they definitely want to listen to you.
Yeah, so this is interesting. It's not my podcast anymore, but yeah, it's the podcast that I was running for a while. But it's Martin Dunley. It's a type of therapy called the human Givens approach. It's quite a new one, and it's based in all the kind of research, neuroscience research and all the rest of it. And it's very pragmatic. That's why I quite like it. But I did a technique called the rewind technique, which is a way of rewiring and sort of developing new associations with traumatic memory. So in the session itself, it was kind of like a hypnosis session where we'd remember the traumatic event from start to finish, but then it'd do a very interesting technique where, through guided imagery, instead of experiencing the memory in like naked me in the memory, weren't really naked, but like I would be
the raw version.
I would be actually sat in a safe place in my mind, which was in the woods, on a comfy chair, watching the memory on a TV screen.
Oh wow!
And then that memory stuck with me now, and now when I recall the terrifying psychedelic experiences,
you've erased
the first memory that comes to mind is me being sat in a comfy chair in the woods, watching it, going fucking out, scary.
That's powerful.
So rather than me being in the moment, freaking out, being at a festival, the entity, panicking,
you're the observer.
I'm the one watching it on a TV screen now, and that I would say has led to like a 40% reduction in the trauma symptoms.
Wow.
Because before that, if someone just mentioned acid or mushrooms, I'd like palms would sweat and I'd be like getting panicky and racy and be like, no, okay, how do I leave?
Wow.
You know? But now it's like, oh, just the palm sweating. I can handle that.
That's blown my mind a bit, mate.
Yeah, I'll link you up to him.
Oh, that's really helpful. I searched it on the internet, and the thing that helped me sort of get out of psychosis when I was going through that, because of similar time scales, this acid days and so on, I started looking down lines when I went down psychosis, it helped to label something because then I could sort of diagnose it. I could go on a bit of a path of how I get away from it. And, I had no idea what any of these things meant until I watched, what is it, the Truman Show and Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Those two films, I'd never heard of psychosis, schizophrenia before, but then I just basically watched what was happening to me unfold. And it goes, right, okay, what's this film? And then it was saying, yeah, it touches on this, 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 and this. So the labelment meant that I could go on and find a sort of path away from it.
Right.
And that's why you didn't see me for a long time. I was just in my room working out my steps away from it. But
so hang on. So you watched The Truman Show...
Yeah.
And Shutter Island?
Yeah, but by accident,
right,
or divine intervention, we'll call it. But I was just spending a lot of time on my own, wasn't I? And I just put on films after film. And The Truman Show was one that I must have watched when I was 13, 14, with no idea what was going on. But then I thought, yeah, I like Jim Carrey, he's a laugh. Chuck him on when I was going through my real hard state. And basically that whole film was me.
Right, so it was like paranoia then.
Oh mate, severe paranoia, and everybody was in on the show. They were all in on it together, and I didn't know there's pronoia and paranoia. So during my real struggle time, I didn't have much paranoia until the end. I had pronoia, that everyone was for me and for the farm or for us all go. I thought we were going to go away together on an island, or we were going to do this big thing, and it was all building up. But then as I was doing more substance and more substance, it started going to the negative side of, maybe they're there to do something bad to you and negative. But it was all it's self, isn't it? It's all ego based. And I was building up stories of everybody. You all had a character profile of this person's going to do this and you're going to do that. And because it was at that weird time, wasn't it, where everybody was just together in this sort of mosh pit of emotion.
I remember the exact
we're all
phase
working
you're
each
talking
other
about,
out. Yeah. And when you start adding in your identity at a really weird time where I was building it up anyway, with substances and abusing them, it wasn't going to end nicely. But yeah, I went into this, you saw the time that I got arrested and so on. I've spoke of it on this podcast. That was a real traumatic experience. I mean, a tasering involved. Not going to help anything.
I can't imagine being tasered off my tips on psychedelics, mate.
I've gone into a loop of, this is my forever. So,
fucking hell, mate.
So honestly, I managed to... I got community service. I ended up having to recluse and lock myself away. But it was, honestly, there was 3 factors. It was those 2 films, and the only other thing was me nan. So I'd built up, everyone was against me, and everything was against me. But I questioned me nan. I thought she was trying to poison me. And the second that happened, I went, no. She's the only person that's consistently been there through ever and loved you unconditionally and looked after you. And the moment I thought she was trying to do something, I went, Mikey, you got to snap. They've got to get out of this.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
It was the big thing, yeah. Trying to question her.
That's amazing. It's like there was always a part of you that kind of was like, okay, sort of weighing things up. And then it was that was like, hang on a minute. No, but up until that, it's like your intellect... You can fall in love with its own creations.
Yes.
I've heard that can be a thing. Like, you believe your own thoughts, basically.
Yes.
But that thought was just a bit too ridiculous to believe. And then at that point, that caused you to go, hang on.
Yeah. We're going to have to go back to the boardroom.
Hang on a minute. Back to the boardroom. Yeah. Lads, come on. And then one of them's at the table like, oh, she's doing it. It's like, fuck off. Of course she isn't.
Come here, you nuggy.
Come here, you silly. Sit down.
But I went on that path, and honestly, watching them films then, because I think that happened after that, where I was sort of the rational state or the authentic self was still just about in the room. He was at the door, like looking in.
Yeah.
I'm close to closing this, and I'm not coming back, you know.
Yeah.
But then I felt something was wrong. I knew I wasn't well, and I watched them films. Just I don't know why. But it felt so real to me. So I typed it in, severe paranoia, psychosis, schizophrenia. I've got something now. I thought I was the only one experiencing it, and you know how lonely that path can be.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it's like, oh, I'm all fucked up.
And
then it's like,
nobody else gets it.
and then you can imagine that. It's like I'm all fucked up, and then it's like you go to a therapist, like, wow, you're the only person.
Yeah.
You're the only person who's ever experienced
heard
this.
of this ever before.
There must be something wrong with you.
Good luck, son. But
I'm not getting paid enough for this. Sorry, please leave. Good luck.
and that's the same with what you're talking about there. I typed in, after finding labels, they're not always great, but they help me in that moment. So I did, ironically, a happiness festival, which was me going on stage in front of 1,000 teachers. You're the only person on stage, and I'm giving a talk, and during it, I went into flashback mode when you spoke.
Fucking hell.
So honestly,
brilliant timing.
I was there, everyone's laughing at me, the eyes are getting bigger, everything's small, it's cackly, it was horrible.
Oh, dude.
And I've probably had about 3 or 4 experiences in high-pressured situations where that had come. And again, because I've got out of something so traumatic before, I thought, no, there's probably a route away from this. And so far, I benchmarked it on, it's called Alice in Wonderland Syndrome, or HPPD. I can't remember what it's, it's something, I can't remember the acronym, but it's HPPD, where you go back into flashback mode, basically.
It's like a psychedelic flashback.
Yes, I'll show it you after. I'll even in this podcast, I can put up little sort of what it means. Yeah, here it is now, HPPD. Look at the link below. But again, because I've sort of ventured into that, I've got a better understanding, but it feels like you sort of took it a bit of a step further and found real, genuine, pragmatic ways of dealing with it. So I'd love to sort of know what path you ventured, because I've not quite gone there yet, and I've still got a hesitancy going on to stages and being in them situations. So have you managed to sort of reclaim yourself then and be in them pressured situations, or you know what to do when it's occurring? Because I haven't got there yet.
Yeah. I think the main... Yeah, I think that the main thing that helped me do this, and yeah, I do, because now I'm running retreats and I public speak fairly regularly, and I run meetup groups where there's loads of guys in it and stuff, and I'm speaking publicly quite often. It's can be quite high stress, yeah. So, and I certainly couldn't do that before. But the thing that helped me was realizing that it's just anxiety. You know, like for example, you go on stage, like in your example. It's no surprise that you had this flashback in a very high stress situation. You had 1,000 teachers looking at you on stage. A lot of people rate public speaking as the fear as being very similar to the impending death. So it's like your nervous system is firing on all cylinders in that moment, and then it's just a trauma response. These are the terms that I use to recognize these things, and it's predictable. You know, the nervous system will do this. High pressure situation.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. You're in a fight or flight situation. You've been triggered emotionally, and it will pass. These are the things that really help me.
Right.
Not only that, there's also because I recognize that it's anxiety and my response to anxiety that made my problems worse. Like I'd get anxiety come up, and then my mind would then really go into full gear trying to explain it. And then one of the things that really made my anxiety worse was thinking I was finally losing my mind. I was like, that's it. I've been waiting on this for ages. And I know that I knew that at any point I'm going to crack.
It's a coming.
Because and here we go. And I'm going to be in a fucking mental institution and all this other stuff. And that fear was just my mind trying to create an explanation for what was happening. That's complete bullshit. And then would create more anxiety. Because when you believe that, you're going to be in a mental institution, no one will love you, no one will come and visit, and this will be permanent. Then you're just going to react.
Yeah.
Because what were the three P's of anxious or depressive thinking is permanent, pervasive, and personal. So it's like permanent. Once I go into a mental institution, that's me forever, and it will never change. It will never pass, and I'll just die in there. It's like, Jesus Christ. Permanent, pervasive, meaning this will affect everything in my life, not just one thing. I can't just live a normal life in some other ways. It will just fuck everything up forever, right? And it's personal, means something really negative about you, right? So one thing that really helped was a book called Dare, 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 It's
Another
by
acronym.
yeah. It's
Fucking hell, I'm busy on this podcast. Link below.
Link below. And it's a book. It's a great audio book by a guy called Barry McDonagh. He's Irish. Fucking sweet voice.
You have to say it like that though.
Barry McDonagh. And there's an app as well that he created. And the dare response is basically D, which is diffuse. So if you get an anxious thought come up, it's just like, oh, fuck it, whatever. If I'm going to get locked in a mental institution, at least the walls will be comfy. At least I won't have to cook anymore, that kind of shit, right? And yeah, so it'd be...
That's great, yeah.
Yeah, so D is like diffuse, A is accept. So accept whatever's happening to you. Because I've had the early onset of panic attacks since March, and I'll just notice it come up, and I'm like, okay, this is I know what this is, so I just breathe through it, like sweaty palms. Okay, cool. I accept that now I'm experiencing intense anxiety, and this is just it. It will pass, but this is my reality right now. And the R is run towards. Now this is my favourite part because this really fits in with my kind of philosophy on life at the moment. Is like, if something's really difficult, challenging, painful. Hiding from it will not always result in a better outcome. In fact, if you build the habit of running away and hiding from stuff that are difficult, you don't make the threat smaller, you make yourself weaker. And in your mind, you make the threat larger, right? So for me, what I started doing was putting myself in high anxiety situations intentionally. For example, there was like 2 months when I couldn't drink coffee at all. Well, as I recovered, as my nervous system repaired itself, which takes ages, by the way. After that, I was
complex.
like, yeah. After that, you can make the argument, nervous system's not just fucking paint by numbers.
There's 4.
There's 4 big bits to the human nervous system. Take that out. Ooh, what's that? But after a while, I was like, you know what? This is a bit of my dad's influence as well. I know he would deal with this in the same way. I'd wake up in the morning. And I'd usually like avoiding gyms, avoiding people and shit. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I started necking 3 espressos and going to the gym and getting my heart rate through the roof. And then noticing the derealisation, the warpiness, the sweatiness, the crazy thoughts. And I'd be like, fucking bring it on. Come on then. Let's see if this is the panic attack that's going to knock me out. Let's go. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
He's getting excited back there.
Because then I was like, oh, I know what the fucking paramedics number is.
Yeah.
Let's go. I've got them on speed dial. If I'm going to fucking get knocked out or whatever, let's go.
Yeah. I'm
going to lose my mind. Okay, this is going to be the day I'm going to lose my mind, motherfucker. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I was like challenging shit to get worse. And it didn't. What actually happened was my subconscious started to get the message that this isn't something to be scared of because we're running towards it. So we don't run towards a tiger, we run away from it. So my subconscious started being like, right, well, anxiety, I guess, isn't anything to be afraid of. Instead, this crazy motherfucker's running towards it, so it can't be something we're scared of. So after a while, I stopped needing to do that. And now I just maintain that whenever I get some anxious symptoms, I say to the anxiety, I negotiate with it. I'm like, how bad are you going to get?
Wow.
Am I going to have to fucking run towards you, or are you going to calm down? Because I accept it. I'm like, you're there, but let's go, let's see. And then the final thing is engage, which is where you engage with something in the world. Because you can't just sit there, just like looking at your anxiety, going,
let's have you.
Let's fucking do it. 3 hours later, God. Eventually, you have to find something that you can engage with in the world. And for me, it was making beats, making hip hop, instrumental hip hop.
Wicked.
So I love doing that now.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've got a SoundCloud and everything.
Brother.
Yeah, so I make instrumental hip hop.
Oh, mate. What do you use?
I use Ableton.
Ableton?
Yeah, it's based on old 70s soul songs.
Did you get a cracked version or did you buy it?
I was naughty for a bit, but I paid for the full version.
Yeah, it's better, innit? Because when you get cracked, you do have to go back.
Once you get cracked, you'll have to go back.
Yeah, because there's too many flaws into the crack system.
Yeah, well, I learned that when you upload a beat or upload any audio, there's like an audio watermark on the actual audio track. That a cracked version, like if you listen to it, you might have Ableton at the end of your track.
I get
so I just like, fuck that.
Oh, mate, yeah, I've done it on Logic before, but again, you call up somebody that knows Logic to the core, and then they're like, well, yours isn't operating like it should, so just get the normal version, you idiot. Yeah,
exactly. You call them up, hello, like, you've got a fake mustache and a trench coat. Oh, hello.
Every time
I'm one of your loyal customers. Your fine product that I purchased doesn't seem to be working. Well, it should. Fine. Oh.
I think one of the parts of the conversation, that dare part, is one of the most inspiring parts of this whole chat. So I'm definitely going to chop that out because that was beautiful there. And again, it falls a little bit nice and neatly to when we talk about the laws of attraction. It's not just sitting there and waiting for something to happen. If you think in this way, oh, it's going to be like this, but you had to act on it and you had to put yourself in situations. So it's always about doing the work, isn't it? It doesn't matter what you stumble upon and what bit of information you find in a book or from a therapist or who it is. You are the one that has to push yourself through that path and find the ways.
So there's one more thing I want to say on it, because I always miss this part out whenever I talk about dare to people in a group or whatever. So anxiety itself, it kind of the anxious symptoms, like the feeling of anxiety, is something that all humans have because it's built into our structure,
DNA.
But this prolonged stress state of anxiety, of an anxiety disorder, that's not something that the human body does well with. It's not something we were evolved to have. It's something that the mind seems to just fuck things up in that way. But it exists in resistance. That like prolonged anxiety, it survives in resistance to sensations. It's basically having these sensations and saying, no, I can't have this. Oh my God, panic attack. Oh, it's coming. And that's the resistance.
Yeah.
So that's my favourite part of the dare response is the run towards bit. Because you're not just sitting there accepting, it makes it active.
When you said that to me, I equated it to depression. And again, if you just accept, oh, I'm depressed, I'll come out of it. People come out of it. You will just sink and sink and sink. And there's an action required. You've got to run and make sure you're doing stuff on the daily that's better than what you're doing now. Because your depression's stemmed for a reason. It might have been past trauma. It may be the situation that you're living in. There's something there that's made this happen. It could have been a slow process or very quick. If you just accept it, you're only going to go lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
You have to do stuff towards it.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like that's the conclusion that have you read the book Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig?
No, but I've heard it's quite a known one for people to go.
It's fucking brilliant, man. Like
Okay.
He's such a good writer. He's from I don't know where he's from. He's from like a 25-minute drive away from here, actually.
It feels like it'll be quite an accessible book for everybody.
Definitely. And he talks about how he went through depression, and it just came out of the blue when he was on holiday with his missus. And the whole book is talking about his journey back to recovery from the depths of it.
Right.
And when he came out of it, when his nervous system started repairing itself, he started to reflect onto the years and the months leading up to the big break. And he realised that there was some shit that he wasn't dealing with for years. There was shit he was avoiding. There was daily actions that he wasn't taking care of himself. And the depression was just, for him at least, was just this crack where it was like his body couldn't take it anymore. His mind couldn't take it anymore. And he realised he was living in an inauthentic life. He valued certain things. He was living like this.
And he sort of plateaued into what he thought was the right way of being, but it wasn't his authentic self saying or screaming, no, don't do that.
Exactly. And then he experienced this, and then he started reading and writing a lot more while he was depressed. And then wrote a series of books and became a best-selling author. And that was his journey out of the darkness. It's like he found the thing.
Yeah.
You know, he went into a trip into the underworld, found the gold, came back.
Wow.
You know, and this is another thing I wanted to talk about. Another thing that's fundamentally helped me and continues to, is to think about the oldest stories that have ever been told to humans and amongst humans. It's the one of the hero.
Like the Joseph Campbell.
Yeah, it really is. Like when I came across the hero's journey as a concept, that was like a spiritually significant moment for me, because I've experienced a lot of traumatic shit in my life, like a lot of darkness, a lot of chaos, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of, don't know why this happened, why did it happen, why it happened to me, all this other shit, right? And I'd never found a framework to put all that suffering in. It just felt like pure suffering without a framework at all. But when I came across the hero's journey, which is a framework where the hero of any story has to go through a process where he falls into the abyss. The journey can't exist without that. It can't. It's like, it's the yin to the yang, isn't it? Like, it can't exist without the trip to the underworld. Any hero, any story we love, like Luke Skywalker, fucking Frodo Baggins, Harry Potter, they've all taken this deep, dark trip into the underworld, where it's this part of themselves they've have to come to contact with, or this demon they had to face that's in there somewhere. Like for Harry Potter, it's the basilisk. It's the snake underneath in the basement, right? And that's a personification. That's like a metaphor for depression. That's a metaphor for the darkness in ourselves and the dark shit in life, the suffering that will visit you at some point. The hero has to go through it.
Do you know what I love about that, though, as well? And I love about you. And I like to hopefully think me eventually. But going through that Joseph Campbell story and journey of the hero, and let's say we were the Luke Skywalkers or the hero in the journey, you come back round, and then for everybody else, you become the Yoda of the story or the Dumbledore of the story.
Yes,
and you've been through it. You know the power of it. Yeah. And you go, I don't want to be the main one now. I want to be the wisdom giver, and I want to help people find their own hero's journey. To then eventually it emanates to become the not the sidekick, but just that bit of wisdom.
The guide, the mentor. Every hero. That's the fundamental part of the story.
Yes.
Frodo has Gandalf. Yeah. You know, Luke Skywalker has. But like every hero has a mentor. Yeah. You know,
and again, the person in the story that it's just every so often comes in, but they're so profound and so neat, so integral in the development of that story. Yeah. Harry Potter would be absolutely jack shit without a bit of Dumbledore over it.
Dumbledore. It would. He'd be fucked, wouldn't he?
He wouldn't have a clue. He'd just be an angry boy with a direction, but all over the place.
Yeah, literally.
He reins him in. He goes, no, this is what you need. You don't need to go crazy over here yet. And Hercules, for example, could name all of them all day long, and that is underlooked, I feel, in this story. We all look to be this figure, and then we forget about all the mentors and the wisdom givers along the way that we've gained from.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You go through the journey, and that's the fundamental part of it. You go through the journey into the underworld, you come back, and you have gained something that you then share with the tribe. And in ancient times, it would have been literal journey into literal unknown territory, where you bring back food or new hunting grounds that you've discovered and shit like that, right? Now, what I see a lot of is, like, especially when you see this on social media and TikTok and stuff, because I come across a lot of like entrepreneur pages and stuff. A lot of people like bloviating and showing like, oh, I drive all these cars and da-da-da, even though they're fucking hiring them and stuff. I see a lot of people that are trying to project that they've gone on a journey and they know what to share. But they don't. They haven't been on the journey yet. In fact, they're scared shitless of it. Same as everyone, right?
And that does worry you, doesn't it?
Well, it's unearned wisdom. It's unearned wisdom, and it's people being
pumping out towards younger people looking at this, and they've missed the steps. So those people that inevitably will fall from that, looking up and just believing this is the way, and feel depressed, feel unworthy, they're comparing themselves. It's all doomed for failure because the step's not in there.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas when this is why I think authenticity and vulnerability, when you're in a position, like it's like the more public exposure you have, the more of an audience you have, the more eyeballs you have on you. I believe the more responsibility you then have to share the real journey you've been on, because it benefits everybody. You know, whereas if you try and project an image for some reason to avoid your own shadow or to make money or whatever, you're fucking everyone over. And yourself included. Right? Well, one thing I wanted to say before we move on, though, is you have been on a journey. Like, I've witnessed that journey. You've been in some seriously dark places. Like, and you have come back. And it was really emotional for me when I came across the post. I almost never check Facebook anymore. And this time especially not. But I checked Facebook and saw a baby on my wall. And I was like, Mikey's having a baby. And I shed tears for you.
Thank you, man.
Because I realised the journey that you've been on. Because I've been with you in the dark fucking points. And it's like, it is a journey you've been on. And whenever I've seen the events you run here, and I see that you sharing the shit that you've learned in the dark parts of your life. And so like with this, you have been on a journey. And you're sharing it as we speak, the light that you've got.
Thank you,
and
man.
you still continue to go on more and more journeys, but I see it all the time, that you're sharing this shit. And
You best be crying back here, by the way, because I nearly am.
But it's true.
Honestly,
and you like, there's no, it's like it's important for you to let yourself know that.
It really does mean the world for me, and I'm human. I feel it, and then some days I can feel I'm letting myself down. There's so much about it, but truthfully, having somebody say, no, you are on the right path, you are doing the right thing, you have been on this journey, you're not a faker, you are being authentic now, it really fills me with that. I knew it. It relieves me. I go, I feel right in what I'm doing, but because of the journeys that we've been on, and I've fucking, you see me, but run away with my ego, run away with myself, run away with so many sides of my nature, I'm so fearful of that. And yes, I'm self-aware. Yes, I do check in. Yes, I do try and make sure that's not happening. But I've seen how much of a trickster the ego self can be.
Yeah.
So to have friends just click in and go, no, he's doing all right, he's good, I've seen, that's wicked, and really take notice to that, it means the world to me, man. So I really do mean that, man. Thank you.
Well, we knew each other in nursery.
We really did.
Literally nursery. I think it was in Kilburn, wasn't it?
There's a reason we've been in each other's lives, and we were so strongly sort of together, youngsters. I was bullied to shit one night at Denby Free School. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But you were a strong pillar in my life at that moment of, not all people are knobheads. There's still this fella. There's still a good person, and he was my mate.
He hasn't found out I'm a knobhead yet. Yeah. Give it time.
I got asked to leave Denby and then went on to Ripley for a little bit, still very confused. Met you back in secondary school, and you were always such a strong figure in my life, and you made me laugh. There was so much about you. I remember when we left school, we had a lot of asides and mates that wanted to just go and make as much money as possible, be on the treadmill, be in the material world, and that was fine. And both me and you were going, don't do that, you bellends.
Yeah, we hadn't quite come up with a palatable alternative. We were just fucking around. It's not that, we don't know what the fuck we're doing, but it's definitely not that yet.
But we were on a train together. We've always been on this ride, and so similar. And the fact that we were so similar, it did cause some friction at times in our life, because maybe if you were going off and doing well, I'd be like, no, mate, don't leave me. I don't know what I'm doing. And the same way or another, but we are meant to be in each other's lives. I really do feel that, because it just makes sense. We keep coming back round and going, I feel the exact fucking same way, mate. I've been through that. I've been through this. I've been through that.
Yeah.
And having you as a permanent pillar to look towards and see, what's he up to? Oh, cool. And honestly, man, you don't know how much of an impact, of an inspiration, of a genuine imprint into my whole being that you've been. So I thank you for everything, just being you. You've just done you, and I've tried to look from afar and go, that helps. that's really important. And even if we've fallen, you've probably seen me in my worst of states and gone, oh, what? How did you get there? Okay, I'll probably not try that. And we've learnt from each other all the way. Do you feel a similar way in that?
I do. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
It's very honest. But towards Lisbon, I think we're only 10 minutes off the plane.
Fucking 10 minutes off the plane. Yeah. 9 quid.
Mate,
9 quid plane. Yeah, we're not far away.
Because I really want to get into where you're at now.
Yeah.
And that fire, I sense it in the kitchen. It's burning strong. So
yeah.
You done all these awesome things, and you've gone to Lisbon. You've met all these people. Then you've got some therapy because you felt some traits inside of you needed working on.
Mate, I've broke so many therapists, man. Put them through their paces. 20 years of experience. I can't help that, man.
Mate, I was picturing then, do you know the Caesar Malone episode of South Park?
No.
Where she's eating shit in the corner because nobody can tame Eric Cartman other than Caesar Malone. He's the dog expert. He just goes, and she keeps calming him down. I pictured you with like all the nannies making them eat shit in the corner.
Oh, fucking hell, mate.
But
yeah, South Park, man.
You're here. You've basically got probably the biggest learning stage of your life. It's been the most sort of reality check. And then you've decided this strong burn, I don't quite want to be here anymore. There's something more. Tell me that stage and tell me where you've gone from there, leaving these fellas that were getting on your tits a bit.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always had this, even when I was working with the Icario, I always had this sort of deep thing I want to share.
Yeah.
You know, this, I don't know what it is exactly. I don't know what character it takes, what shape it takes, and stuff like that. But I just always know that I have this thing I want to share, and more adventuring I need to do. It's all just, I know it sounds such a fucking cliche in an eat, pray, love kind of way, but it is to find yourself.
Yeah.
So you just go and have experiences. It teaches you more about yourself. Okay. And so now I'm kind of at a place where I'm to the public in an easy way. I just say I'm doing dating coaching. It's like dating in relationships for guys who fundamentally struggle with attracting a woman.
So Hitch.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says that, and it is unfortunately kind of true.
But Hitch was fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
he was a lovely fella.
Yeah, it's kind of
misunderstood.
It's kind of that because I mean, this is its whole other topic, but in the whole topic of emotional connection and intimacy with women and stuff is something I've always kind of struggled with because when I was, I mean, you know already, but when I was 14, I lost my mother, and this. The older I get, the more I realise how much this impacted my relationships to all women. So I couldn't possibly let them get close.
So the loss of something here grew something outside of it.
Yeah, it communicated to me that, look, if you love someone, then they could be gone so quickly. And there was just, like, for so long, until only fairly recently, if I'm being honest, there's just a strong part of my unconscious, my subconscious that was like, nope, absolutely not. Woman wants to get close, you want to love someone again, fuck off, no way.
Is that what caused you to love so strongly as well when you were with that first proper relationship? Because it was feeling of, you're not going to leave me though, and did that sort of repel it a little? No,
so I don't think I did fully feel that, because it was like it got. And this is the character of it. I will let her get this close, but this close, absolutely not.
I get you.
Right? So that led me to down a path after that of attracting women, sleeping with them, but not really connecting with them. And then after a while, that was fun for a while, but eventually it got to the point where I was just thinking, hang on, is this all there is? I started to get this real hollow feeling.
Sort of nihilistic.
When she left in the morning. I just felt just as empty, except I just expended loads of energy and effort and stuff. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? You know? So it's kind of weird because, as I was saying to you in the kitchen, I found this weird intersection between what I'm good at, which is coaching people and creating content and communicating and stuff, what people will pay for, which is someone to help them solve a very real problem, like I can't get a fucking girlfriend, right? And what the world needs, because I fundamentally believe that there's so many guys walking around that really can't get these emotional needs met of intimacy, of physical connection, of sex as well. They can't get them met. And it's something they need. And it's something I've had personal experience with. So I found this really cool intersection. This is where my focus is right now.
This is where I want to get into the meaty bits of.
Yeah,
I suppose for some naive or innocent people saying questions, they'd say to those guys there, why don't they just pay for it? There's a market. Are you saying because they'd feel very hollow eventually, you know, if it's just an interaction? Or do you think, I mean, it's one of the oldest markets, but there's an element that could be helpful in some order, and we don't have to just look at, I'm talking prostitution now, but we don't just have to look at it on a really negative light.
Not at all.
That there's a reason it exists, and for so long it exists.
Of course, there's a demand for it. It's why all these OnlyFans women are making serious bank, because there's like although that's slightly different, because it seems to be that the OnlyFans ladies seem to be creating these digital relationships with men, and it's not physical because it's on the internet. But anyway, I think that meets a need. It meets the chimp need of just physical, right? It meets that need, but it doesn't seem to meet a higher order
Yeah.
needs.
Why do we have that need? Sorry, just to...
Dude, why do we have that need? Fuck only knows, man. Like, because that's the thing. I've managed to sum it up by asking myself repeatedly the question: what do I really want in my relationships? I want to see her and be seen by her. Basically, in another way, to love her and to be loved, right? Which actually takes so much courage. It's fucking crazy how much courage that takes, and I know that because I did love a woman, my mother, and she died, and that was traumatic as fuck, deeply. So it's like love again, knowing that existence can steal her from you at any given moment. You're gonna love now, like yes, most courageous thing to do, right? But when it comes to that stuff, I have no problem. I'm very sex positive in that way. I'm super casual about sex too, to a detriment in the past, to be honest. Got myself in all heaps of trouble, just with how casual I've been with it, right? So I'm totally cool with that side of things. If people want to pay for sex and that's the need that they want to meet, fine. Even these pickup artist dudes that I don't like to be lumped in with, I try to distance myself from these pickup artists on YouTube and shit as much as possible, who just use essentially instrumentalized language, which is just using language as a way of getting something from someone, which is psychopathic as fuck in my opinion. Yeah, it's like a sales game. It's like numbers game. Say this, use this script, get her into bed with bada bing, right?
Yeah.
Even that, I'm kind of like, look, lads, if you want to do that, then fine. Just don't hurt anyone, which is debatable as to whether...
Catch-22, is that possible?
Yeah.
Maybe if their exchange is of a 50% nature,
Yeah.
but still they're inevitably hurting as the exchange is so hollow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought it was kind of weird. I went into this thinking that I'm going to meet a bunch of guys that just want to get laid like crazy with people all the time, with different women, all over the place. And I actually haven't come across that more often that I thought I would. It's usually just guys. The most common goal I hear is that guys just want a girlfriend. They want someone to spend time with. They want someone to be around. They want someone who they can enjoy themselves with, and someone even they can build a future with. That's actually more of a common goal than yo, I just want to fuck a bunch of women.
Yeah.
Oi.
So really wholesome aspects of the nature.
Yeah. So that was really reaffirming for me, because if I had to be this pickup artist, that I couldn't do it. Basically, I just couldn't. There's something in me that wouldn't allow me to just. I'm teaching guys how to just get laid indiscriminately. With anyone, doesn't matter what you say, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what damage you cause, just fuck away. Oi. But but that's it's that.
Well, yeah. I've got to go down some rabbit holes here, mate, because out of all the guests I've had on, this is a very interesting part of conversation. I've never met a pickup artist before. I won't label it there, but you know what I'm saying. A modern day hitch. So, I want to go down here. Have you met any of those guys that do just want to bang away?
Yeah.
Okay, you've met a few. Do you try and coach them outside of that and say, really get them to be that self-aware again? Is that what you want? Or can we break it down further? Or do you they're too past?
Yeah, I don't coach them.
No.
I don't honestly do it. Because
needs about a team of 10 to
go. It would need so much of my... Because basically, one thing I had to realise quite early on when I started coaching people is that you can't help someone who don't want to be helped.
Yeah,
you can't help them get a result that you want them to get if they don't want it. If someone comes to me saying, all right, I just want to fuck a load of women, fuck beautiful women all the time.
And in your head, you're going, I'm sure he doesn't want that, but I can't bring him on that.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't judge him for that. I honestly don't. It's like, cool. Who doesn't want to, who doesn't want to be attractive to beautiful women? And who doesn't want to have those experiences? Right? And being humble, it's not up to me to sort of even diagnose that a person's, he's dealing with a mother wound, he's dealing with this and that. It's not up to me to even diagnose that. And if a guy comes to me saying, I just want to fuck a bunch of women, it's like, deep down, that's not what I'm helping men do. At the same time, if a guy comes to me saying, I want to create a sex life that's active, fun and exciting and stuff, I'm like, cool, sweet. But there has to be, for me, to help someone, there has to be this underlying self-awareness and self-responsibility and this capacity to self-examine. Because there's some dudes, because the pickup game section of the internet, basically now, it attracts a lot of legit psychopaths.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, because one of my friends from Canada, we started doing some approaching women in the street, like while we were in Lisbon, and just talking to them in the street as a way of overcoming fear of rejection and as a social anxiety challenge. So we kept on doing this, and I stopped doing it for a while, and he carried on. And eventually he actually came across a pickup artist who'd been doing it years and years and years, deeply embedded in the community. And the encounter scared him to such a degree that he came back in a crisis state.
What had he seen?
What? I can't be like that guy.
Really?
And I was like, mate, what happened? It was like, there was nothing behind that guy's eyes.
Oh, God.
And I was like...
Just glazed
I was
over.
like, what do you mean? He was like, I can't be like that guy. He was like, traumatised.
It's like two vaginas.
Yeah, like some reptilian dude he came across, you know? So I thought, you know what? This guy probably came across, my friend came across probably a psychopath. Probably someone who...
If he wasn't doing that...
Who doesn't feel real empathy for people, you know? But like, seems to just be using language in, as I said earlier, an instrumental way to get something that he wants. And it's like, it can attract that kind of crowd. And basically, I can vet them quite quickly. It's like if a guy comes to me and it's just... Basically, I couldn't help that person. Just with my own temperament, my own personality, and my own ethos, I couldn't actually do it.
Okay.
So it's like, no.
How long have you been doing it for?
I made the pivot a few months ago.
A few more. So, have you got any nice anecdotal moments of somebody that you'd helped and you've seen their journey onwards from that?
Well, I'd say it's only been a few months. But yeah, yeah. So there's one guy who basically crippled by social anxiety, right? Absolutely crippled. This is the first one that comes to mind, and couldn't talk to women at all. Fundamentally believed that he's an unattractive man, sexually undesirable to basically every woman, which is just a ridiculous belief when you think about it. But because he's a good-looking guy as well, which makes no sense. As if you saw him, you'd be like, "What?" But yeah, he believed these things about himself. So I took him out. We were walking around Lisbon. There's fucking beautiful women in Lisbon. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, especially in summer, you're just walking around. You're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, hello! Oh, good Lord! What the fuck's going on here?" You know, it's like everywhere. So I challenged him to just go and talk to a woman, to go and express confidently but respectfully express desire. You know, by saying, "Hey, I thought you were quite attractive. I thought you were cute, and yeah, just wanted to meet you," kind of thing. And I just said, "Let's go and do that." I gave him a few warm-ups where he just talked to strangers and stuff, but then eventually he was coming up with every reason possible to not approach women and stuff. I would point out, like, "Okay, she's quite attractive. Do you not like her?" And he's like, "Don't really like her. Too old, too young." He came out with every possible reason, but there was a moment where he saw someone, and that's when it's like the most authentic desire that you will feel. It's something that happens in the body. It's something that cuts below your insecurities and your fears. It's a desire that bypasses your usual excuses, right? And I was sat with him, we were having a coffee, and I was like, "Fucking hell, is he ever going to do it?" And yeah, he saw her, and I saw the moment, and I was like, "What's your excuse?" And he was like, "I don't have one."
Oh.
And I was like...
Give me goosebumps, that.
And I was like, "Go." And he was like... Stands up. I kept coaching him. I was like, before this, I was like, put one foot in front of the other. Don't overthink it. Just go and talk to her. See what happens. So he goes over, right? Goes over and starts talking to her. Her boyfriend walks over, right? She wasn't alone. She seemed it. But they were just two tourists. They were from France or whatever. So her boyfriend joins over, right? As he's walking over, he carries on walking towards her. And in my head, I'm thinking, I am the worst person in the world. I have just sent a socially anxious man over to get sparked out in the streets of Lisbon. And I thought, what the fuck am I going to do here? So I'm drinking my coffee like, fucking hell, what's going on here? Right? So then they start chatting, and all of a sudden, her boyfriend just goes, pats him on the back and shit like that. And then they're laughing and stuff.
Wow.
And then he walks back to me, and I'm like, how did that go? And he was like, yeah, so I said that I thought she was really cute. But then he came over, and for some reason I just was like, "Hey, listen, I thought she was single." And he says, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's fine. No problem.
Wow.
It's all good." And I was like, right, for your first approach of a beautiful woman, that you really found attractive, that was the hardest thing. Right?
Yeah.
You went into the fucking meat grinder with that one, mate. I don't even know how I'd handle that. But he did the perfect thing. He honestly expressed the situation. And I was so proud of him. He was like, yeah, I thought she was single. And he gets it. Because she's like so stunning that it was like, he obviously was like, oh, sure, it's fine.
Crazy,
I know, mate, it's good. It's all good, brother.
You're basically just putting him into situations and giving him confidence in that situation, because clearly he had an inherent knowledge of how to deal with that situation on his own merit to a degree. He didn't know what to do, but he just makes a joke of it. You'd not prepped him to deal with a boyfriend coming, and he knew what to do. So it's as if your superpower is just in these situations telling them, no, you do know what to do. You are equipped for this. You've just built yourself beyond belief that you can't handle it or hack this, but you've got it within you. And he showed in that situation, I can do it, but it does sometimes take a coach or an Ollie figure or whoever just go, no, here, you're fine, you've got yourself.
Yeah, honestly,
That's
mate.
what it felt then.
So much of the time, it's encouragement.
Yeah.
It's being this presence that's been on a journey like this that can just encourage.
You're not giving them a script and going,
No.
read this, tell her this, say this, and she'll come back with you. You're going, all we need to do is work out the parts of you that are so hesitant towards this situation.
Yeah.
And then when you're good with your mates, when you're good with at work, when you're good in all these other situations, you'll be fine in this one as well.
Yeah, exactly.
mate.
So the way I see this when it comes to dating and relationships, how you got in the boat is the stuff you need to do to stay in the boat. So in this example, if you approach a woman with a script, oi oi, I'll throw out all these confidence signals.
Come on, I'm getting horny here.
Some of the oi oi, oh my god, dick out immediately.
That was the big clank you all heard on the table.
All it takes is oi oi.
Like Kevin and Perry when he gets right stonk on at the table. Can you remember?
Oh god, that movie, man! I've not
Kevin
fucking
and
watched
Perry.
that movie,
Mate. He's at the table with his parents, and he sees a nice girl, and the table is like going up and down and up and down. It's his big knob.
I love how you're telling me that, so that when I watch it again, you're just reassuring me, like, it's his big knob. Yeah. Just in case you were wondering what it was, it's his big knob, and I've told you now, just so that when you watch it again, you'll know what it is.
It's definitely
I've done you a favour. But yeah, like if you be like one of these manipulative pickup artist dudes, and you approach with a script, you've got like 20 canned one-line openers, and you know what to do, you know exactly what to say if she does this, like a sales pitch, right? Now, let's say that you go to a fucking beautiful woman and you fool her into thinking that you are actually this super confident, grounded, high status man, right? Let's say so you convince her of that, and you get in a relationship. Well, you have shot yourself in the foot, mate, because now you have to continuously keep up this fucking knackering fake persona that eventually she's going to get wise to no matter what, right? Now, you can bypass that by just jumping in that boat, and then as soon as it starts getting real, jump out the boat, jump in another boat, and keep going on that track if you want. And then you basically live a life of having shallow relationships, where instead of jumping in a boat and sailing off somewhere and having an adventure with someone, you're actually just jumping in a boat, realising, oh shit, she's going to find out, jumping out the boat again. And you'll just be dooming yourself to fickle, hollow, meaningless relationships forever, just because you've not developed the courage to actually go over to her and be truly, I know it sounds bullshit, but be truly, authentically yourself. So that's why I say to guys, like, look, if you want to go and approach a girl and talk to her, just say hello.
Yeah.
Just go say hello. I thought you were cute. I thought you looked attractive. I'm interested in getting to know you, whatever, right? So yeah, just no bullshit.
I think it's interesting as well, because you said something before, and we were talking more on depression, but people that have lived it, and they can truly help you because they can be empathic and really understand what you're going through. When you're in this panic state, when you're in this angry state, whatever state you're in, the ones I like to listen to are the ones with the anecdotes of, I can say this because I've been this. And would you say it's fair to say you were quite closely related to some of your clients or some of the people where, yes, you've been able to maybe pick up women, but your mindset and attitude and feeling towards them was quite nervous.
Yeah.
And you didn't think you were good enough a lot of the time and so on.
Yeah, I've experienced the full, like, yeah, aside from like marriage and stuff like that, I've experienced long-term relationships, long-distance relationships. I've experienced fucking a phase in my life where I believed I was just so deeply unattractive and unsexually appealing to anyone.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, this was before my first big relationship, actually. Because that relationship actually helped me heal some... And I've not expressed this to her before, but I don't know if I'll ever have the chance. I hope I have the chance one day to say this to her, but like that relationship helped me heal some deep insecurities that I didn't know I had, related to how I view myself. And it may have taken me a lifetime to ever heal those if that had not happened, you know? So I've experienced that. I've also experienced what happens when you just sleep with women indiscriminately without any connection, and how hollow that can feel. So aside from marriage onwards and having kids together and stuff,
The whole spectrum.
I can basically speak from experience on all of this. And there are I learned through that there are some wounds that can only be healed fully, as fully as they can be healed, at least, in the presence of another person or through connection to another person. If those traumatic experiences, if those insecurities, if they occurred in the context and around other people, that rule applies double.
Yeah.
So what I do now is help men really get these needs met, but also heal through relationship and heal through emotional connection and stuff. And I see a lot of that need for that, because online there's these groups like the Red Pill. Have you seen the Red?
No.
Oh, wow. It's amazing to me. A few people have heard of this. So now online, and like YouTube and Facebook algorithms don't help this. They make it way worse. But there's groups online that are forming, I'll pick one out because it's the easiest option. Is a group called the Red Pill.
Cancelled.
Yeah, instant cancel. Boom. Called the Red Pill. And now what they basically do is they study relationship dynamics, and they break it down into... Basically, it's an ideological position where they believe that women are... Well, for one, they're hypergamous, which basically means that all women are looking to do is move up a status hierarchy, right? Like if they see a man, they're assessing his value based on the overall cultural status dominance hierarchy. And to a degree, I actually believe that's kind of true, because this is how we see we become attracted to each other. But there's way more that they have to leave out. The issue I have with it mainly is that it breeds, it seems to breed bitter, resentful men who don't see that women have the capacity for emotional connection and all the rest of it. It's just like women are just out to, they're just out to just move up the dominance hierarchy. They're all after money and looks and all this other bullshit. So I read some of the forums just to see what I'm up against, and it's just there's this big void, at least in these groups, between men and women. It's like,
it sounds too absolute. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's going to be so different in their approach and how they are. Don't get me wrong, they exist, but somebody that's been brought up in a totally different circumstances with totally different parents and seen totally different dynamics, they're going to have a very different feeling to love and what love means to them. The way we pigeonhole things and put a box into things and say, this is an idea, it sounds very legit, and there's some premises and ideas that come from it that you can go, yeah, that suits some women and really suits some women. That speaks the language, but it feels like it's going to miss out a massive load of people on another side. I don't like how we box things in a lot of the time or draw absolutes from ideas. Yeah,
it's like, so I mentioned earlier this emotional support / personal development group in Lisbon I run. There's almost like 200 guys in it now. And I see there's a few that have fallen so far down this red pill rabbit hole that now it's like their whole worldview is...
It's all they can comprehend.
They have these needs, emotional needs, connection, intimacy needs, that kind of thing. But it's like they're seeing things through the red pill lens that's pushing the possibility of real connection away.
What I mean, like, to maybe bring it more mainstream, because this is obviously quite a new formed idea.
Yeah.
Diet, or looking at people training. We see this bulletproof plan, and maybe somebody follows that and they look absolutely archetypal, exactly how you want to look from it, but it really isn't going to affect this person down here or this person.
Yeah.
And maybe, again, if you do a study and 100 people do it and 80 show progression, there's 20 left out. And the more you build upon that and build upon that and build upon that, you need to spark new ideas and new sort of dietary plans or workout plans or whatever it is. Do you know, it's so, I'm going to say the word nuanced in how we need to approach anything. And that's why it keeps jobs. It's why you've got a niche market now, because everybody you're going to encounter is an individual that's going to have different aspects of the nature to work out and work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes sense? Or is it the... does that make sense?
I kind of lost you a little bit.
Oh, Ollie, we were so there. I saying when we pyramid scheme stuff or have a concept, and so carnivore, let's say for dietary.
Yeah.
This is what works. Here's a book. Here's a guy promoting it. Here's somebody selling it.
Mm-hmm.
It probably will work the majority of amount of time for these people. But because there's so many people, I just don't feel having a one size fits all makes much sense.
Oh, I see what you mean now.
That's
I see what you mean. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, there's like, especially with social media and stuff, there's groups that can form around basically anything. Like there was this health fad that happened, I think it was years ago now, called perineum sunning. You know what the perineum is? The perineum's your gooch, Jagger. Jagger
He's got it out.
Yeah, he's had it out the whole time.
Yeah,
but
he's just doing a sunning in the back.
Yeah, but the idea is that you'd wake up in the morning and you get your arsehole out to the sun.
Yeah.
And you let your sun let the sun just give the vitamin D in your arsehole. Apparently, this has staggering health benefits, and countless people have come out and just in support of this and testimonials and stuff. And if you saw the landing page, if you went to the website and you just didn't have any preconceived notions about arseholes or the sun or anything, you just look at the page, you'd be like, wow, I need this. Perineum sunning saved my marriage. And it's like, oh wow, that sounds amazing. But actually, it's just.
And then placebo is powerful. So the placebo effect for people coming back and reporting, oh, this changed my world, this changed my life.
Yeah.
Then we all go, oh, that must be the thing that works. It doesn't have to be, and nothing has to be so absolute.
Yeah.
There's so many different ideologies and patterns and thoughts that you can pick up.
Yeah, and I made it a point that my group is not going to be a place to peddle any ideology, like to peddle it. I basically
schemes.
I basically said this group is an open group. We have different ideas. We're clearly going to have a few red pillars in here, no problem. All right. But this will not be a place where you can peddle red pill ideology.
Yeah.
You can express certain opinions and stuff, but I also want you to leave the idea open, the possibility of you changing your mind on certain things open as well. And yeah, that's kind of the stance I took on it.
That's the thing I really like about Buddhism. A principle of theirs is you can refute anything. You can argue against any of these ideas, and if you find something that fits better, then use it. And if you find a new mode and model of thinking that we haven't seen, implement it.
Yeah.
And I really value that it's forever evolving. It's not just a core set of principles, adhere to this.
Yeah.
It's saying try and build upon your own over time. It's not just a box set of thoughts and a manual. That's what I mean.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Rule book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matey, so how are you going to evolve the business? Where do you want it to go? Where do you want it to grow?
So far, my plan is to build an audience, and put my message out there, which is kind of like my channel is switched and the tagline is emotionally intelligent dating advice for guys.
Perfect. That's
so like
what it says on the tin.
Yeah, so it's really simple. It just sums it all up.
Yeah.
So I coach people. I usually do like 90 days to start with, and it's virtual as well. As long as they commit to doing the homework and commit to showing up authentically on calls with me, then we can change things. But also coming out with products. I've also been like, someone suggested I write a book, because I posted something on Reddit about 10 days ago or so. The 7 things that have changed my dating life. And there are 7 key principles and mindset shifts and philosophies, in a way. It's quite simple, but really powerful, that have changed my dating life forever, pretty much, permanently. So I posted this on Reddit, and it got about 1.6k upvotes.
Wow.
And a bunch of people sharing it and stuff. And loads of people saying, can you elaborate on this? Can you write something about it? Some people messaged me privately saying, can you write a book about it? Literally expanding on these 7 principles as chapters.
Where could people who are listening to this go and find that then?
So on basically on my website, olivercowlishaw.com. I'm going to come up with a different name for this business, but yeah.
I think that works.
So far, it's Oliver I've got to spell the surname every fucking time.
Yeah, you do have to spell it.
Yeah, you do. That's the problem. It's not just like Oliver Reed or Oliver Smith. It's Oliver Cowlishaw. What the fuck's that surname all about? But if you just go to my website, the 7 things that changed my dating life are on my blog.
Spell it out. How do people get to Cowlishaw?
Fuck me. Cowlishaw. I have to do that every time.
Mate, if we're nearly 2 and a bit hours in, and if people have got to this level, they want to check all your shit out.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're one of the 2 people that have listened to me talk.
Me grandma and potentially Chrissy.
Potentially. Yeah, then yeah, if you just go to my... I'm on Reddit, so if you just type in Oliver Cowlishaw, all one word on Reddit, I'm a user on there. But also, yeah, just my blog, olivercowlishaw.com/blog.
So that's for checking out this sort of path that you're on now, the dating...
Yeah, that's
everything.
Yeah,
that
I've had to, because my channel direction's changed loads of times over the years. Because I've done this, started this channel in like 2016 or so. So it's changed a few times. Initially, it started out as being like a Buddhist kind of like spirituality thing.
I've really liked it for what it was.
Yeah, I quite liked it for all. I evolved and changed though. I got more real.
Yeah.
More grounded, more down to earth, less.
I like that you've not deleted everything of the past, have you?
No, I've not deleted all the stuff.
I love it that people do that. I see a lot of musicians. My mate Joey Collins is a bugger for it, and he had a massive archive of stuff, and then he reinvents himself, deletes everything, and puts one new song out.
Yeah,
like, mate, I really enjoyed that, and even some of the very old stuff, I felt so relatable and. Oh, this is all self-sufficient. You've built that up. You've got the stuff you can cringe at, but that's what makes me feel I can do what I do.
Yeah,
and keep building up from it.
Yeah, well, that's part of the reason why I leave all the old videos on there. Also, so I can go back and look. I have unlisted a few videos that either are just not
totally
relevant,
not
totally like not on point with anything, let alone the old brand.
Yeah.
But this next year and moving forward is going to be all about dating, all about relationships, all about helping the shy, quiet guy get a girlfriend, get his emotional intimacy needs met without giving up who he really is, without trying to be something he isn't.
Do you do relationship advice as well then? Not that I'm seeking out now, but I'm thinking you're appealing to a lot of strugglers and people that really want to get with women or get with love. But do you help people who are in long-term relationships and having struggles in their partnership?
I have done, but it's not like my chosen niche.
Yeah,
because
the initial.
Yeah, mine's more the initial. I have been in long-term relationships before. I just don't feel like I could speak with as much authority and lived experience as if I, because I was a very different person back then. And it's not like I was consciously doing things that made the relationship work as much. I was just sort of like, in a relationship, let's see if it works. Oh shit. Whereas now, when I'm in my next relationship, at some point, whenever that is, I feel like with what I know,
that'll be there.
I could consciously and intentionally create the relationship that I want in my life, or help do that more so. And then once I have that experience, at some point, I'd love to help people who have been together for a while but lost touch and contact with each other.
Yeah,
I'd love to help them regain that intimacy again. That'd just be such an amazing thing.
Can we do more of these?
Sure.
How do we make this happen more regular?
Well, I come back. I
over the
spend a
sea.
few more fucking £9 tickets and come back more often.
It's not bad,
That'd
is
be a
it?
good
£9.
start, wouldn't it? Well, hopefully. Let's hope COVID sticks
Wow.
around a bit longer.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Are they all right with you at the sort of borders and stuff? Are you all jabbed up and stuff?
I had my first jab.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago.
Just wondering, because I've not had any yet, and I don't know if I'm ready for it yet.
Got you.
But I've really...
You don't like needles, do you?
No, I don't like needles, and I'm not sure I believe in it all quite yet. As soon as the whole consensus, or at least 90% of the consensus is yes, I'll dive in. And there's maybe a bit more research down the line, but it just feels too new and too much division. That's what I've seen or experienced. But other than that, the only reason I go towards it is because of wanting to travel.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of it for me as well. You know, just like, I don't feel that strongly either way.
I'm really on a fence.
But like, if you're going to say that you can't get into this country because you're not jabbed up, I'm like, well, fucking hell, all right, let's have a jab then.
Bob it in.
You know? But then you get the people that I wouldn't even label them as conspiracy theorists, because there is very real merit to the idea that, look, we don't know how much power they're going to give up when all this is over.
There's some
and if we give
significant voices on air at the minute that when the people say follow the science, you go, yeah, but what about his science who's been in it 40 plus years and has a certificate and a merit in X, Y, and Z, who's saying, I'm not keen on this. You've got to listen to those too.
Yeah, I mean, you get those people that say that you don't give away your freedoms that easily and stuff, which I also, yeah, sure.
But I'm very much on fences.
Yeah, but for me, is like freedom is also freedom to travel around too. For my own life, it's like, so if that means getting a couple of jabs,
I didn't like the
possibly growing a third arm later on. Fuck it, I can do something with that third arm.
I can't get pregnant.
I can't get pregnant.
But yeah, I didn't like the forceful nature of it all and the turning people on people when then you break down their thought process and you go, well, you're not actually that equipped with knowledge. You're just shouting something they said over there. I didn't like sort of the mandated ideology of it all, but I'm really not too adverse to getting it if it means travel,
neither.
So.
I don't like how things become politicised. I actually consistently point the finger at social media algorithms.
That seems to be the...
That's what I mean. When I get someone who has even the most bonkers to me sounding argument for something or bonkers sounding conspiracy theory, I don't see them as fundamentally like your character is the problem. I just see this as a casualty of the algorithm. I really do, because if you follow it down to its conclusion, like the base of it, it's like, well, what allows certain ideas to take root to the point where they can become what is essentially a mind virus.
Yeah,
you know?
I've been reading up on mind viruses.
Yeah,
recently.
and it's like, what is that? It's like, well, probably an algorithm that is prioritized and is incentivized by attention.
Yeah.
And what seems to get attention for this person, this person seems to be binge watching QAnon conspiracy content.
Outrage, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're going to feed him more of this content. He goes further down the ideological rabbit hole. The algorithm hasn't got an inbuilt system of ethics. It's just prioritized by it's prioritized and incentivized by attention, so it doesn't care.
Something that's not conspiracy anymore is, have you seen the sort of farms in Russia and China where they've built up buildings and their sole purpose is to create memes and so on, to just turn people on one another. So if they know that this proportion of people are going to get really outraged at this proportion for this, they're going to create bots and memes to just fire at them. So it's basically to the term of that divide and conquer. If you can separate a nation and cause such division in it, you can overtake that.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of called it, not publicly, but I kind of called it in my head, you know, when Trump won the election.
Yeah.
I was thinking, Putin's had something to do with that.
Yeah.
You know, because there was loads of adverts popping up on Facebook about like being pro-Trump and whatnot. Yeah. And I just thought, you know what, if your goal is to culturally destabilize a great nation and turn it on against each other, and you've got a weapon like social media, and you're the traditional opposing force to the West, such as like Eastern countries and stuff, you just be like, well, this is fucking too easy. And you've got Mark Zuckerberg who will take like whatever money you give him
Yeah.
for anything. You can promote fucking anything on Facebook adverts as long as you got the money
His
for it.
objective is infinite money.
Yeah, infinite money, you know? It's lost all sorts of fucking
Mate.
sense of humanity. Did you see that hilarious, you know, when he was introducing the metaverse?
Yeah, and he built his own little
He built his
person
he built his
who looked better than he did.
Yeah, but
like,
also, as he was
more
saying,
real.
as he was saying, greetings, humans. He in the background, he had a bunch of photos that looked like they were the photos that come in a frame when you buy it from IKEA. Right? No human being would really have photos like that on his shelf. And he also has a random bottle of barbecue sauce on the shelf.
Yeah.
In a living room. So he's clearly, it seems like he's an android who's basically said to his team, make me look human.
Yeah.
What do humans have on shelves? Meanwhile, his team of androids are like, humans
Really
like barbecue sauce.
personable. Yeah.
Put it there. You know, so yeah, I've got my feelings about
Brother,
social media.
we-
Fucking bittersweet.
That's the powerful thing of this. We could do this forever, couldn't we? We could honestly do this
Well,
podcast.
if you'll permit me to piss myself as
And
I'm sat here, then yeah,
I'm
sure,
also busting for
I'm
a
sure we
piss.
can go for way longer.
Dive
You got a
in.
spare pair of joggers.
But, also, my distributor, where I put out the podcast to all the platforms,
What is it?
Spreaker.
Never heard of that.
y-
I used Anchor before.
Yeah, Anchor's a different one, but it only lets me have. Fuck that angle as well. Who needs the third angle? It's come at a great time though, but it only allows me to have 2.5 hours.
How long have we been going for?
Nearly 2.5 hours.
I often wonder how the fuck Joe Rogan does it with his guests, but this has been so easy.
I'm a bit gutted you don't live here right now because I feel like I've got a co-host for life. But the beauty of technology of what we've just been speaking, we can do this. Every time I need you on and just tot up this wonderful dynamic, I can get you back on, or I can pay £9 and just fire you over.
Yeah, no problem. I love that. Like, it sounds like you're balling. Yeah, I flew Ollie over from Portugal. How much was the ticket? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You asked too many questions.
Honestly, Ollie, I'm sure we're going to go maybe to the pub after this or whatever, or just have a sit down here and... We need to have a chat with Jagger, don't we? We can't leave him out. But yeah, so that's Ollie. Right, go now.
Bye, Jagger.
We'll go and have some sit down and really get to the meat of it all.
Yeah.
But just tell the audience, to this camera here, where they can find out I know you've been through this, but everything that you're up to.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, you can check my stuff out on my website, olivercowlishaw.com. You go to my YouTube channel, type in Oliver Cowlishaw, subscribe to that. So I obviously do one-to-one coaching based on dating and relationships for, as I said earlier, shy, introverted dudes. If you fit that description and you want to sort this area of your life out, just get in contact. I also do an online dating profile upgrade. I didn't mention that in the
No.
I didn't mention that in the episode. But,
Episode 2.
yeah,
all
but
come in.
yeah, exactly. But online dating, it gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes. But like, if you can optimize your dating profiles, this just gives you a constant stream of women who want to meet you, and they've already chosen you fundamentally.
More
So-
chance.
Yeah, so if you can sort that area out, which is it's such low hanging fruit for most guys, but I do just like one or two sessions where I can help guys out with that. It's on my website as well.
No abs out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think so far it's all going to be on my website moving forward. So if you want to check me out there, then you can go ahead and do that.
I'll have it in the show notes, guys.
Show notes,
Mate, this
below.
has been awesome, hasn't it?
Mate, it's been great.
I fucking love this. I'm so happy to see you. Honestly, I am. Love
Likewise,
you.
mate. It's been a great catch up.
Guys, you've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. I'm going to leave you on this. I always do. Just be nice to one another, you beautiful set of buggers. Have a good day. I'll catch you soon. Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.